Tune in every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 for the Golf Shop Radio Show, presented by PlayGolfMyrtleBeach.com, the golf capital of the world. Hosts Mark Greenhelch and Matt Blanchard talk golf from tee to green and everything in between. If you like golf, you're going to love Golf Shop Radio. Before you tee up, drop on in. Welcome to the Golf Shop, here on Sports 56, real sports talk.
It's time to discover new roads in the new year at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Get ready to blaze new trails in the 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport. We Gossett at $359 a month or buy for just $26,350. Gets 29 MPG Highway. Or get ready to take your pick from 2022 Outlander or 2023 Eclipse Cross for just $399 per month. And you'll always get peace of mind in your new ride with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. 2023 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, $359 per month. 2022 Outlander or 2023 Eclipse Cross, $399 per month. You won't go wrong ever when you shop Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Sport PU 00100 MSRP 27100 Outlander NZO 84912 MSRP 32250 Eclipse PC 004373 MSRP 33335 includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax on a license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
You've heard of James Gaddis Jewelers, but have you heard what they've done lately? Everything. A tremendous selection of diamonds and jewels, gold, silver, and much more. Lots of watches, tons of custom-made jewelry, fine gemstones, bracelets, necklaces, so many choices. Romantics will love the one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry. James Gaddis has experts to help you with wedding and engagement rings, plus 2 repair experts for fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing available. James Gaddis Jewelers at 4900 Poplar.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to real sports talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Morant. Oh! A jawbreaker!
It's time to get up and get your day started. It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable!
The first hour of Sports 56 Mornings is brought to you by the Memphis Music Room.
I woke up this morning.
Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome in. The storms have passed. Looks like we'll have nice sunshine today, although it will be very, very cold. And the Grizzlies get it done again. 11 straight wins. They win in dramatic style last night. We are here to talk about that and much, much more as we welcome you in to Sports 56 Mornings, the Thursday, January 19th, 2023 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd, and a cast of thousands from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure is located at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Their floor model sale continues. It's where family and fun come together. Maybe this weekend, stop by, see what they have to offer. First hour of the program also brought to you by the Memphis Music Room. As I mentioned, sunshine today, currently 50 degrees. It will only get to about 55 today, but the rain is out of the area. I know last night and yesterday afternoon, a lot of rain, a lot of thunderstorms, and some dangerous situations in the area, so that has passed. As I mentioned last night, another great night for the Grizzlies. We will talk about that on the program today. Here's our guest lineup. Coming up at 8:05 in studio, we'll talk Tigers basketball with the Tigers basketball beat writer for the Daily Memphian, Parth Upadhyay. He is, as I said, going to be with us in studio. Joined us maybe a few weeks ago for the first time. Did an excellent job, and looking forward to having him on with us. At 9:05, an old friend, Matt Moore, will join us from the Action Network and Hardwood Paroxysm. We'll get his thoughts on what's going on in the NBA and the Grizzlies' chances to maybe win it all this year. And then at 9:30, we'll continue to talk NBA, specifically Grizzlies, with the Grizzlies beat writer, also from the Daily Memphian, Drew Hill. That'll be coming up at 9:30. If you want to be a part of the program, we always offer you this opportunity. You can call in during open segments or text in at 901-360-8255. You can also message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or at www.sportsmemphis.com. That's the website. Go ahead and hit us directly as far as that's concerned. Tigers tonight in action at home. Grizzlies, as we mentioned, 11 straight wins. We will discuss everything else that happened in the world of college basketball. It was a busy night last night for some of the regional teams. We'll talk about the national teams as well. The NFL gearing up for divisional round action this weekend with the 4 games. Got some big college football news involving a coach who's on the move. It's all coming up on the program today. How are you?
I am fantastic. Good morning to everyone out there. Happy Thursday to you. Hope you survived the rain yesterday. Got some sun for a few days. Going to be nice.
One of those unique nights, although it happens from time to time, when the Hustle are playing at home in South Haven while the Grizzlies are playing at home at FedEx Forum, and that was the case last night. So you had that call of the game, second night in a row that they played the Santa Cruz team, which happens to have former Tiger Lester Quinones on the roster. And I remember you talking yesterday on the show about his night the previous night. It was a really good night on the court. I think he had 20 points and whatever it was with rebounds. But last night, 31 for Quinones, and he did it in front of his coach at the University of Memphis. Penny Hardaway was there on hand to watch.
Yeah, Lester had a good return. Double-double both nights for him. 30 and 11 last night after 20 and 11 the previous night. He hit 7 threes last night. Very, very nice return for him to the city, and played well down there. And Penny was on hand to watch him. And he's a guy that if he continues to shoot the 3 ball the way he has so far, he's right around 40% from 3-point range with them. If he could continue to shoot the 3 like that, got certainly a chance, I think, to pick up a 2-way contract somewhere or something like that. He has certainly represented himself well. He's playing very well in the G League, and he can be that 3-and-D type guy possibly, and get a chance to get a little shot in the NBA.
I've always liked his game. Shooting 40% from 3, my gosh. It brings up the thought of, wow, wish he was still with the Memphis Tigers. What a difference that would make to have a guy who could knock down the 3. But he's obviously doing very, very well, and hopefully he will get that opportunity. But the Hustle win again last night, as they just have talent out the yin-yang when they can have David Roddy and Jake LaRavia, and those 2 guys. My gosh, what did they combine for last night?
They combined for 55, I believe it was. LaRavia had 27 in the first half, finished with 34.
27 in the first half?
Wow. He went off. He was spectacular in the first half. I just did whatever he wanted to do, scoring outside, scoring inside. And then it was funny because Roddy was really struggling. And in the third quarter, he missed a 3, and I think he was like 2 for 8 from the field or something like that at that point. And he just, like, after he missed it, he was frustrated. He stood there for a second. He put his head down and just shaking his head. He's like, you could just tell he's like, what is going on? Why can't I make a shot? And then from that point on in the third quarter, it was the David Roddy show. He scored the last 15 points of the quarter for the Hustle. He hit 3 or 4 straight threes. It was incredible. Like, he just took over the game and was like, okay, that's what he can do. He just went from completely frustrated to everybody get out of the way. The last possession, like, it was literally like, okay, he's got to shoot it again. Like, John Rosen said it felt like the All-Star game when Magic Johnson did his thing. Like, literally, he just came down and he's standing over on the right side. He's about 25 feet away, like, and he just, like, they don't step out to guard him, and he just shoots it and makes that one. I was like, he had to shoot it. Like, you can't pass it at this point. It was the whole place was going crazy. But yeah, so they each had their quarter where they just took over the game, and the Hustle continued to play well. 8-1 now on the regular season and rolling right along. 3 different guys. It was obviously, for those 2 guys, it was career highs. Now they haven't played much. Roddy, it was only a second game. But then Justin Bean had a career high. There 3 different guys who easily set career highs last night.
Sometimes you just need a little self-reflection, and he seemed to have that on the court before he caught fire. So, nice. While that was going on, Grizzlies were playing the Cleveland Cavaliers minus Donovan Mitchell, but still, as we discussed yesterday on the show, a very dangerous team, really talented young team, and well coached by J.B. Bickerstaff, who was back in town, the former Grizzly head coach. So Cleveland comes in, and early on they look really good, and then the Grizzlies open up the game, and I think they got the lead up to, was it as high as 19? Or am I imagining that?
Their biggest lead was 19.
Yeah, so they got the lead up to 19, and you figure they're going to coast to their 11th straight win. Not so fast, my friend. That was not the case. Cleveland came back. They came back strong on the Grizzlies and made it very, very interesting. And then they took the lead. It goes down to the wire. Grizzlies have the basketball. They're down a point. Ja makes a great move to the hole, but misses the shot. Steven Adams, though, right there, the big Kiwi, tips it in. They take the lead by 1. Cleveland still has plenty of time with their final offensive possession, but the Grizzlies' defense shines, and Dylan Brooks gets the block, and that was it. And the Grizzlies come away with a 115-114 win, only fitting that they win it at the end on a great defensive play, but also they hit that 115 mark again. All 11 wins during this 11-game winning streak, which ties the franchise record from last year, has produced offensively 115 or more points. So now they get to go on this 5-game, 8-day road trip, which I think will be a real test, especially with the struggles they had on their last Western road swing, which wasn't that long ago, because they come in red hot. Let's see what they do on the road. They are not as strong against the better teams in the West. I think they're only 4-4 against the top teams. They won't play all those teams on this trip. But I want to see them away from home now, because right now they're clicking on all cylinders. They're as healthy as they can be. Even Danny Green will probably make his Grizzlies debut, unless they deal him, sometime relatively soon. I don't know what else to say about this team, but there was one where it went down to the wire, a rare game that has gone down to the wire recently, and they made the plays when they had to win the game.
Yeah, they, you get the block on the final possession, and Dylan Brooks did not have a good night offensively. 0 for 5 from 3, 8 points. But again, this is what he can do. He can be that defender and makes the big block. You got the 5-second violation, which is amazing. That a team take a 5-second violation and on such an important play on the possession before that, for the Grizzlies to get the ball back.
Eli, especially with the official counting right next to him. I don't understand that.
Yeah, so I mean that was, but again, that's the defense forces a 5-second violation, gets the ball back, able to that, and that was after a block by Jaren Jackson Jr. So you just look at the defense down the stretch, and they had to have it, and they get those plays, they make those plays, and then Ja and gets to the basket, nice move, and just couldn't quite finish. But there's Steven Adams, so the guys other than Ja doing those little things in order to pull out a victory. And yeah, they're just they just rolling along, and it's good for them to be tested, because they haven't really, they have had very few close games.
Right.
So to have a game like that go down to the wire, can you make the plays down the stretch when you have to make those plays? And they made those plays last night. The defense on that final possession was fantastic. Cleveland didn't know what the heck to do. And then Garland had to try and force the one up, and Dillon's there. So good to have some of those games once in a while to really test you to make and execute plays down the stretch.
Ja would end up with 24 points and 8 assists, but there was a scary moment earlier in the game. In fact, I think late first quarter, Ja gets into a collision and seems to hurt his neck or upper back area. I never heard which area of his body got hurt, but he quickly went to the locker room and sort of a hush over the crowd. What's going on with Ja? It wasn't just crazy collision, but it was a collision nonetheless where he got stopped in his tracks. But Ja obviously came back into the game, hopefully no worse for the wear, and helped lead the team to the win. Desmond Bane, 25 points, continues to shoot the ball extremely well, 5 of 8 from 3. He was 8 of 17 overall. Steven Adams with that bucket, that tip in, that was good enough to produce a double-double for him, as he ended up with 11, make that 13 points and 10 rebounds. So that tip-in was his 10th rebound. So he comes through with the double-double. As you mentioned, Dylan Brooks had a bad night offensively, but comes through on the defensive end. And then Jaren Jackson Jr., of course, doing his thing, as he always does. He went for 4 more blocked shots in the game. So, and then I heard Taylor Jenkins, or I read the quote from Taylor Jenkins, that he thought Santi Aldama played his best game of the season. Aldama off the bench, 6 of 8 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, ended up with 16 points. He was somehow a -8, but he ended up with 16 points. And Cleveland, without Donovan Mitchell, that's a big void, but still a very good team. And Darius Garland showed how good he is. 24 points and 14 assists.
Yeah, they've got some good talent. Mobley is an outstanding young talent. Garland, obviously. Okoro goes perfect from the field last night. Jarrett Allen's an all-star. That's a really talented team in Cleveland, especially when you throw in Donovan Mitchell. I mean, but the fact that you've got a Karis LeVert who you could throw in there in place of Donovan Mitchell, that's a team that's going to be fun to watch for years to come, and certainly is a team that's dangerous right now. Desmond Bane, now, I would say he's got the stroke back.
I would say so.
In his last 6 games, 60%, 24 of 40 from three-point range. So I'd say it's pretty good. You're shooting 60% from 3. I think you've probably got your stroke back over a 6-game stretch. That's pretty darn good, if I do say so myself.
I would agree. And as I mentioned earlier, the Grizzlies now hit the road, starting with a nationally televised game on Friday night in Los Angeles against the Lakers. And they will also play on this road trip the Suns. And I'm not sure what the prognosis is for their walking wounded, but they're a mash unit with Devin Booker, Chris Paul, their 2 stars. They have been out. I'm not sure if they're going to be back. Then the Grizzlies will play the Kings. They'll play the Warriors on the 25th, and that's 1 month after the Christmas game in which they lost to the Warriors. And then they'll play the Timberwolves on the 27th. That's the 5 games in 8 days before they return home for a game against the Pacers on the 29th. I'm just looking at how many games the All-Star break will be. Is it the 15th? They play the Jazz on the 15th, and then they don't play again until the 23rd. So I assume that's when the All-Star break is, right? Because there's a big gap. So if I could do quick math, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 more games before the All-Star break. What's their record now with Grizzlies?
31-13.
So that's 44 total games plus 13. They will have played 57 games by the time the All-Star break takes place. And we always know it's not the exact halfway point of the season. It's not 41 games. We've passed that. But you turn around, you have that All-Star game, you come back, there's not a lot left in the season. And Denver wins again last night. The Grizzlies win. We've been talking about it. It just seems like those two in a highly competitive Western Conference are really starting to distance themselves from everybody else.
Yeah, the Grizzlies have won 11 in a row. They've gained 1 game on Denver. It's Denver every night. Jokic gets a triple-double. They seem to win a game. They've won 15 straight at home. The 2 teams have the same home record, best in the NBA. Those 2, they are rolling right along. Both of them are, and you'd think that if you won 11 in a row, you might gain a little more than just 1 game. But that's I think 8 in a row and 10 out of 11 for Denver during this same stretch while the Grizzlies have been winning their 11 in a row. So it is it's tough sledding there at the top of the West to try and gain any ground. But, yeah, those two teams are, right now anyway, starting to kind of pull away a little bit as what New Orleans now is.
Well, the Kings have now
Actually,
tied the Pelicans.
Yeah, the
6
Kings,
out.
Kings have been continue to play very good basketball, continue to win games. But, yeah, 6-game separation now, basically between those top two and then the rest of the West.
And Jokic with that triple-double last night, which I think he's up to 14 this year, his assists total, now he has surpassed Alex English on the all-time assists list for the Denver Nuggets. He's number one in assists, Jokic. The big guy, the 7-footer, is number one now in assists, and he has a long way to go in his career. But, yes, the Nuggets, the Grizzlies just separating themselves. Grizz half a game behind Denver. So on this road trip, they'll play the Lakers, who right now are in 13th at 20-25 and don't have Anthony Davis. Mention the Suns. The Suns are in 12th right now at 21-24. They got the Kings, and the Kings are playing well at 25-18. And the Warriors are right now in a play-in spot at 22-22. And then the Timberwolves are in the final playoff or final play-in spot at 22-24. So, yes, it's rugged to go out west to play 5 games in 8 days. It will not be easy no matter who you play. But if you look at the 5 teams they're playing, 3 or 4 of them are struggling. Sacramento's been the only consistent team.
Yeah, Minnesota's been a little all over the place, up and down again after the big trade they made. The Lakers certainly are dangerous because LeBron is playing great, but they, without Anthony Davis, have struggled. They lost again last night. So it's certainly anytime you've got LeBron out there, the team is more than capable. But the Grizzlies are a better team than the Lakers. Is just going in there and actually getting that win. It'll be a nationally televised ESPN game tomorrow night. LeBron chasing Kareem, all of that. A lot of hoopla around what's going on there, but they continue to struggle to string together wins.
Yeah, I saw where Charles Barkley called the Rudy Gobert trade the worst trade in NBA history. Grizzlies playing Minnesota as the 5th opponent of the 5 on this road trip. But how about that? They're 22-24, Minnesota. Obviously, they're struggling. Cat's been out. You don't have Karl Anthony Towns. That hurts you. But it might be a little hyperbole, but my gosh, the worst trade in NBA history, Barkley calls it.
I said at the time I'll never understand that trade. That to me, that trade will never make sense. To give up what they got or gave up for Rudy Gobert, just makes no sense. Again, as I've said all along, like Walker Kessler is Rudy Gobert, only younger and cheaper, way cheaper. And I don't know, like to give up multiple players and basically all of your first round draft picks for the foreseeable future that you could give up. I just it will never make sense to me, and I just don't see how they thought that was going to be the secret to them getting over the hump and winning a championship.
I hate that it seems like every single show we have sad news. And when I say sad news, I'm talking about something that's personal. And yesterday we talked about the tragedy of the plane crash that included our friend Bill Gardner, who passed away, who perished, a Memphian. But yesterday, heard the news about Chris Ford passing away. Chris Ford went to my high school. We didn't go at the same time. But Chris Ford and my late brother and my sister, one of my sisters, were very close. So he was friends. He lived in Atlantic City. He went to Holy Spirit High School. So Chris Ford was always our guy. Still the all-time leading scorer there. Went to Villanova, had a great career, and then played in the NBA and ended up coaching in the NBA. As a player, won an NBA World Championship. As an assistant coach, 2 NBA championships with the Celtics. He's also famous for being the first player to make a 3-point shot once the 3-point shot was instituted in the NBA. So he'll go down in history for that. But he passed away yesterday at the age of 74. So that was a guy, again, I didn't really know him personally, but my family knew him very, very well. And then I heard the news about Chris Simmons passing away, who was the trainer of the Memphis basketball team while John Calipari was here. I'm not sure if it was the whole time period, but I knew Chris really well, and always had a nice thing to say when we talked, and always was in good spirits. And then I know things started to unravel a little bit at Kentucky. I think he had left the program, but I'm not sure what happened and what the cause was. But yesterday, John Calipari was the one who sent out that information. I'm not sure if he was the first one, but he certainly sent out his condolences. So we sent our condolences as well. So, again, it's crazy, but every single day. Folks, you don't have to go through life with pain, and I know a lot of people are. It's hard to get out of bed in the morning to get your day started. You're dealing with some sort of chronic joint pain. Well, I got a place where you can find that real lasting relief, and you don't need surgery. It's called QC Kinetics, and it's right here in Memphis. It's the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Their unique protocols use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged tissue. As I said, no surgery needed, no drugs, no downtime. Shoulder pain, hip pain, pain anywhere in your body, also any arthritis pain, which a lot of folks are going through as they get older, lingering pain from injury, which is what I'm dealing with. QC Kinetics may be the place for you. Call them today, get a free consultation, find out what they're all about. I'm a client, so I can tell you firsthand. I got 2 more sessions to go, and then I'll see where I stand. I'm a little bit different. I have a torn rotator cuff. I'm trying to avoid surgery, so I'm going through this and seeing if, it's almost a miracle worker. But as far as regular pain is concerned, this is a no-brainer. Absolutely a no-brainer for you. So make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. Give them a call today. Again, it's a free consultation. 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010 for QC Kinetics. All right, if you want to hit us up on the Sports 56 listener lines, we have open lines. You can call in or text in at 901-360-8255. When we come back, we'll get you set for the Tigers in Wichita State tonight. We'll go around the country last night. Some interesting results in the world of college basketball. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
You don't have to go through yet another year with that knee pain or back pain. People with chronic joint pain are getting real lasting relief from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Their unique protocols use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged tissue, so you can move again with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Got shoulder pain, excruciating hip pain? If you have any arthritis pain or lingering pain from an injury, don't let them operate on you or give you more steroids, and say no to the pain pills. Call QC Kinetics and see if their life-changing, all-natural treatments can get you living your best life in the new year. I'm telling you, people are raving about these treatments. And appointments are available as soon as next week. Make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010 for QC Kinetics.
It's going on now at the Great American Home Store's year-end inventory reduction sale. Our warehouse is packed with over $5 million in quality-made home furnishings from top brands. We must sell down now to get ready for year-end inventory. We'd rather sell it than count this massive stock. We'll save you money on sofas, sectionals, dining rooms, bedrooms, everything marked at huge savings. If you've been planning to buy new furniture, don't miss this huge savings event. Imagine a new sofa or sectional, reclining sofas or sectionals, or maybe a new bedroom suit and mattress. Save $100, $300, $500, even as much as $1,000 off our already low prices. Plus 60 months of financing, 5 full years, no money down, no minimum purchase. You get both huge discounts and 60-month financing. We'd rather sell it than count it and save you money during this once-a-year inventory reduction sale only at your locally owned Great American Home Store or online at GoGAHS.com.
Corky's Barbecue. Hi, Jimmy Stovall here with Corky's Barbecue. We have been helping Memphians with their celebrations for more than 38 years. Whether you're picking up one of our party packs to serve yourself or booking one of our private dining rooms at our Cordova location or our Olive Branch location, Corky's has you covered. We make it easy for you to impress your guests for company parties, sports banquets, or reunions. Corky's has been trusted year after year for all of your party needs. Call today and reserve your private party room before your date is booked.
Flavor, Corky's Barbecue.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand bottled, taste tested, sent to a few friends, then taste tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com.
Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Hi, folks. The Chevy shares the good news for car and truck buyers. The Chevy Ranch has new cars and trucks in stock, ready for immediate delivery. Factory rebates up to $1,000 and Sunrise discounts high as $4,000. Immediate financing available with the interest low as 2.9%. A $15 million used car inventory with cars and trucks for every budget, and a lot specializing in cars and trucks under $15,000. If you've been turned down by another dealer, see us at Sunrise. We specialize in financing, and Sunrise is the home of the guaranteed credit approval. Find new roads to the Sunrise Chevy Ranch. Collierville.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Sports 56 traffic.
Right now, we're working 2 separate accidents on Raleigh-LaGrange. The first one is on Raleigh-LaGrange at Austin P Highway. The second one is Raleigh-LaGrange at Sycamore View. So the first one, Raleigh-LaGrange at Austin P Highway. The second one is on Raleigh-LaGrange at Sycamore View. And then our other accident this morning, Walnut Grove at Timber Creek is the other accident. Keep it right here. This is your Sports 56 traffic update.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Memphis Music Room. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Todd Rundgren at 7:30 in the morning banging on his drum. Nothing wrong with that. Welcome back. Sports 56 mornings. Greg, Eli, and Zach. Memphis Tigers back on the hardwood tonight as they will host Wichita State. They got some good news yesterday, or Kendrick Davis specifically got the good news. Davis, who just earned his fifth American Conference Player of the Week honor, was named the United States Basketball Writers Association Oscar Robertson National Player of the Week. First time that has ever been bestowed on a Tiger. He had 42 points in the loss to UCF, and then he hit the game-winning shot in the victory over Temple. What a great week it was for Kendrick Davis. That is a great honor.
Yeah, good for him. I was surprised that no Tiger had ever gotten that before, but I don't know how long they've been handing out that award, but that's cool.
Tigers are 13-5, and tonight in action against Wichita State. Wichita State 9-8. The Shockers, they're just not the Shockers we used to know and love. The Greg Marshall coached Wichita State Shockers, which became a national brand. It has not been the same. I don't know if they'll ever fix it at Wichita State. They had a pretty darn good history, but most of that history under Marshall. Not the same. They're a mediocre team at best. This is one of those games where Memphis has to take care of business, get them down early and step on their throats, because there's no way you can let this team hang around. They are a horrible net. Do you know off the top of your head where they stand?
They are 139
Yeah.
in the net.
Yeah, so this would be a horrendous loss. It would be one of those losses we talked about yesterday with Jerry Palm, where Memphis is in a tedious situation where they can't afford to have a bad loss. They will not have, according to Penny Hardaway, Malco, although he's getting close to coming back. Jaden Hardaway will also be out once again. He's been dealing with a hip. And Alex Lomax, he is on the shelf with that groin injury. So, once again, they'll be limited with the rotation. Yesterday, Penny met the media talking about a number of different topics, including the rebounding issues, the problems that Memphis has had rebounding the basketball. He said, well, watching more film, we're seeing how it's happening. Guys aren't moving. Guys are just standing around. They'll be moving after today, especially if they want to play. So you would assume yesterday was a very hard practice, a tough practice, and we'll see if they respond to that tonight.
Yeah, you'd hope this would be a strong showing and a team that you come out and take care of. Wichita State's a little weird. They're not very good. They are pretty good defensively. They are bad offensively for the most part. They are a terrible three-point shooting team. They shoot 28% as a team from three-point range. Offensive efficiency in KenPom, they're 241st in the country. They just don't do a lot real good offensively. Others, they don't turn the ball over much. That's the one redeeming quality of their offense. They don't turn it over, so they do get an opportunity to miss a lot of shots, basically is what they do. Defensively, they are pretty good. They're 50th in the country defensively. And
so are you saying we're going to have another ugly game?
You could see that. And then, they lost to Alcorn State and they lost to San Francisco, but they lost to Missouri, but they took Missouri to overtime, lost by 4. They lost to Kansas State by 5. They battled them. Mm-hmm. So and that's two top 25 teams right there that they played close and battled and had chances. They have played a ton of close games so far this year, one way or another, in wins and in losses.
I think anytime you could play defense, you have a chance to stay in games.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Kansas State game was a 55-50 game. Now, Missouri was 88-84. Mm-hmm. But it's, I mean, they're going to try and, they play slow. They're going to try and limit possessions, guard you, and, keep it as a low-scoring game and give themselves a chance to do so. And that's the best they can do. Again, it is you could see a lot of missed three-pointers tonight, if I had to guess, on both ends.
But either way, you're playing Wichita State at home. Even when you're playing them on the road, you should win. You need to win. You have to win. There's no question about it. And Sunday, the Tigers have a tougher game on the road at Cincinnati. But their next 4, when you look at the schedule, they're playing 3 of the worst teams in the conference. Wichita State. Then they'll play next Thursday against SMU at home, and that'll be Kendrick Davis going up against his old team. SMU is just
terrible.
Yeah, they're a mess. They're a mess since Jankovic left, who had replaced Larry Brown. They're not the same. And then Tulsa, which usually gives Memphis fits, and they'll play him at home. Frank Haith going up against his former team. But Memphis should take care of business against Tulsa quite easily. Tulsa is really bad. So if you could get that win over Cincinnati, you should be able to string a nice winning streak together before the February 4th game against Tulane. And now that's one of the revenge games. You lost to them there in New Orleans, which was the same deal last year, and then you beat them at home. You got to take care of business at home. And then you'll go to South Florida, play Tyler Harris again, a roadie, but you should win. Temple at home, again, the game that went down to the wire. You're playing them at home. You should take care of business. You get UCF at home, and then your first of the 2 against Houston. So it's setting up nicely for Memphis, But it also is a situation where they can't stub their toe because one little stub knocks them off that line right now that has them in the tournament, albeit in the play-in. You start rolling off wins or reeling off wins and don't have a bad loss here and then can steal one of those against Houston, then you're not going to Dayton. You're going to be solidly in the field, and we'll see where you are seed-wise. So it's still there, even though they've had a couple of tough losses in the conference. You could still extract the revenge on UCF and Tulane because you get both those guys at home. And then all these other teams, you should be superior to them. And we'll talk a lot more about that when Parth joins us coming up at 8:05. Last night, college basketball around the country, couple of conference games, American Conference games of note. SMU beat Tulsa in overtime 79-76. Cincinnati over South Florida on the road 85-69. Again, that's one that concerns me a little bit, the Sunday game for Memphis and Cincinnati. And then Temple at home over East Carolina 73-58. So again, the upper 4 or 5 teams in that conference are continuing to win. And there's a big gap between those lower 4 or 5 teams that are really, really bad. SEC last night, Missouri and Arkansas played a dandy, with Missouri pulling out the win at home 79-76 over the 25th-ranked Hogs.
Yeah, Arkansas' struggles continue. That is now 4 in a row, 5 out of 6 that they've lost. And it's again, same thing as last year. This time of year, middle of the season, early on in conference season, they had a stretch where they lost a bunch of games, and then they kind of got it figured out, and, of course, were really good in the NCAA tournament. I don't know what the latest is on Nick Smith. I know there was a thought that he would be back in February. Other people thought he would not come back at all. I don't know what the situation is, but clearly they need him, and they are struggling a bit right now over in Fayetteville.
The Memphis Tigers getting some help last night from the Auburn Tigers, from the Texas A&M Aggies. These are teams that they played and beat. Auburn, the 16th-ranked team in the country, won in Baton Rouge, 67-49 over LSU. And Texas A&M nipped Florida 54-52 in College Station. Again, these all help because these are Memphis's opponents this year, and their opponents' and how they fare against them factor into the net rankings. And right now, Memphis comes in at number 45 today.
Yeah, A&M, now they have not played the powers of the SEC, but they are rolling along in SEC play at 5-0 now. They have played Missouri, and they did get a nice win over Missouri. They've got Kentucky and Auburn coming up here in their next couple of games, and certainly see what they do there. But A&M certainly is playing better, it seems, as though than what they were early in the year, and that is good. You'd love for them to keep climbing up the ranks as far as possible to make that win look as good as possible.
Alabama continues to pace the SEC, 6-0 in the conference, 16-2 overall, 9-0 at home, and one of the closest times they came to a defeat was against Memphis. You mentioned A&M at 5-0, Tennessee's at 5-1, Auburn's at 5-1. Georgia, a little bit of a surprise. Of course, Mike White, the coach there, they're now 3-2 in conference play. And then you start to drop down and you look at that Arkansas team. Again, the Nick Smith deal, Brazil out for the year, but they're 1-5. LSU got off to a quick start. They're 1-5. And then the Mississippi teams, both Mississippi State and Ole Miss, 1-5 as well in conference play.
Yeah, it's the conference is pretty darn good again. And if you're not playing well, you're going to take some losses in a hurry. And Ole Miss, certainly, they had the really tough stretch at the start, playing a lot of the better teams right off the bat. Their first 4 games at SEC play were all against ranked opponents, and they just haven't played well either. So they finally got that first win and see if maybe they could string. They've got Arkansas on the road on Saturday. Obviously, 2 teams that both need a win very, very badly in that game.
Memphis got help last night from Seton Hall. Beat Connecticut. The 16th or 15th ranked Huskies are reeling. I don't know what's happened to UConn. 67-66, Seton Hall ended up getting that W.
Yeah, Seton Hall bumps up to 61 in the net. So that loss is looking a little bit better. Need them to keep winning some games and keep climbing up that net and see if you could maybe get that into a quad 1 loss rather than a quad 2 loss.
Right. And even Nebraska helped out. Nebraska team Memphis played down in Florida, 63-60 winner over Ohio State. A couple of other scores of note. DePaul surprises Xavier, 73-72. Xavier's been rolling with Sean Miller, the former Arizona coach, and DePaul goes in to Cincinnati and wins.
Nice win there for DePaul in that one. That was at DePaul.
Oh, was it? Do I have it backwards? Okay.
I believe. I'm pretty sure that was at DePaul.
Well, either way, them to beat Xavier, I don't care if it was on the moon. It's
a byline. It just showed like going on the road. We see this every night and that's what Brandon Lang talks about. Just find these home dogs in college basketball. Going on the road in college basketball is hard for whatever these teams struggle. You see every night upsets it seem like happening with teams going on the road as a road favorite and not able to get the job done.
Especially in conference play, the conference road games. Last night, perfect example. We were talking yesterday about the Big 12. We had Jerry Palm on, and we all agreed that the Big 12 is the best conference, top to bottom. TCU, 14th ranked in the nation. West Virginia has been struggling. What happens? In Morgantown, Bob Huggins' team wins by 9. Again, go figure. But that's the way it is, especially in conference play. No question about it. The NFL playoffs are heating up, and with FanDuel, every play is a rush. New customers join today so you can bet the divisional round with $150 in free bets, and that's guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up using promo code GASMAN. It's America's #1 sportsbook and has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. Plus, with FanDuel, you can even combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. It's all in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use, so football fans don't miss out. Place your $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, using promo code GASMAN, just in time for this weekend's divisional round playoff action. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 or over, present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Have some news from the gridiron when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
When the weather gets better, I found a new place to really soak it in. It's the patio at the Commissary in Collierville. We all love the delicious Memphis-style barbecues. You can begin your barbecue fest with some great appetizers like the cheese plate or the tamales or the barbecue nachos. Oh, those smoked chicken wings, they're terrific too. Then dig into the ribs or the barbecue shoulder. Get it chopped or pulled on a sandwich. A big sandwich, or you can get it on a plate. You've got choice. And you've got choice in places. Don't forget the Germantown Commissary as well. Comes with beans and slaw, deviled eggs they're famous for. And Brad, you can even order by the pound, a 6-pack or an 8-pack or even a 12-pack. The Boss Man salad, the chicken plate, the barbecue shrimp. There's something for everybody, and those great desserts. The best icebox lemon pie anywhere. Or my favorite, the banana pudding. Check out the patio, TVs for sports, and music on the weekends. You love the Commissary.
Football is here, and this season, my 46th as a professional handicapper. More than any season before, you need my help when it comes to sports wagering. The transfer portal has made it impossible for the average fan to keep up with college football. Take advantage of our experience, contacts, and information and get season service, college and pro football and college basketball for $1,000. Total cost, no add-ons or extra charges. Every play we make through the NCAA Final Four championship. 5 losing seasons in 45 years is a phenomenal record. Last season, 65.5% against the spread, including a 13-4 record on our 10-star plays. Call me, John Rainey, the Rain Man, at 901-461-4600. That's 461-4600, and get season service for $1,000. The Rain Man and All-Star Sports. You can't do any better.
Let's say you need a new car, so you go to a dealer, right? Wrong. You need to go to Mount Moriah Auto Sales. Why? Because why limit yourself to just one kind of car when you can choose from all kinds of cars, SUVs, and trucks? All different years, all different makes, all different models. Really good prices, too. Now, everyone says that about the money, but Mount Moriah Auto Sales proves it. They work hard to get you the deal you want, even financing. Plus, they have a huge full-service department to help you take care of your car. So many choices at Mount Moriah Auto Sales. They're almost unlimited, with new vehicles coming in every day. Now, these are really good cars and trucks and SUVs that you'll want to drive. And yes, low miles too. It's so easy. Just go to Mount Moriah Auto Sales, tell them what you want, but keep your eyes open because you might just find the car of your dreams. Mount Moriah Auto Sales makes it all possible. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner, right on the price, right on Mount Moriah.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by the Memphis Music Room. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
51 degrees. It will get up to 55. That's it. But at least the sun is shining and will shine throughout the day after a bunch of storms yesterday hit us here in Memphis and the Mid-South. We welcome you back to Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Zach Boyd with you. Got some football news I want to get to in just a moment, but you've hit us up with some texts on the Tigers, so let's go ahead and read them.
Yeah, Mario texted in 901-360-8255, 901-360-8255. Mario texted in, says, every Memphis game concerns me. I could certainly see, again, like road games should be concerning. Now, some of these conference games at home shouldn't be concerning. if some of these home games are concerning, then there's some real problems.
Yeah, these teams at the bottom of the conference, you should be able to dispose of pretty easily. And although he's probably, and I don't want to get into Mario's head here, that's not a fun thing to do, but you get the Tigers on any given night, and they're going to struggle from the outside shooting. They're not going to turn around and one night they hit 15 threes. It's just not going to happen. So when you have the struggles that they do offensively, unless you're clicking in that half-court offense and getting to the hole and Davis is on from the get-go, then you might struggle offensively. But all you have to do, anytime they're in a bit of a jam, rev up that pressure because Memphis's pressure is really good. It's some of the best I've seen in the country. When they want to force turnovers, especially when Lomax is in there and he's not in there, but when they want to force turnovers, they certainly can.
Steve texted, says the Tigers can't seem to get consistent play from anyone besides Kendrick Davis. Lomax is consistent on defense, but really one-dimensional. I see 4 or 5 more losses, another bubble year on the NCAA. All that depends on Davis remaining healthy. Well, if there's 4 or 5 more losses, not unless I guess if maybe 3 of them are to Houston, maybe you could survive that. But 4 or 5 more losses, it would be probably very good chance that's on the wrong side of the bubble as far as this conference is concerned.
Oh, my gosh, 4 or 5 more losses? It would definitely be on the wrong side of the bubble. In fact, that could be a disaster because think about it. If the 4 or 5 losses happen, let's say you lose both times to Houston. Now, is that person including the conference tournament? Because if they are, let's say Houston sweeps you in 3. Although I think Memphis has a chance to beat them. I really, really do. But let's just, for the sake of this discussion, say they win all 3 times. Okay, they're the number 1 team in the country. Now, there would be 2 more losses if it's 5. And where would they be? You would hope that you are able to beat Tulane and UCF at home after losing to them on the road. Nothing's given, but you feel pretty good. Where would those other 2 losses come from? Cincinnati this weekend, certainly a possibility. That would mean that there's at least 1 or 2 really, really bad losses. And if that's the case, they're toast. There's no question. If that happened, they wouldn't be in the tournament. I don't see that happening, but they're certainly not void of a major slip-up against a bad team in the conference. It can easily happen from what we've seen.
And I would say DeAndre Williams has been very consistent. DeAndre Williams is probably the most consistent player on the team.
Well, he's consistently fouling out.
Well, but I mean, yes, he needs to stay on the court, but even that is consistent. But when he's out there, like, you know what you're getting from DeAndre Williams.
No, DeAndre Williams, when he's on the court, you know what you're getting. You're absolutely right.
He's more consistent than Kendrick Davis.
Yeah, look, Lomax, when he plays, you know what you're getting from Lomax. As long as Alo doesn't have one of those games where he's chucking up 5 threes, he usually knows his game, and he's pretty consistent with what he does for a team. Williams is consistent, but he's fouled out. So is he reliable? That's a whole different story. Is he consistent? Yeah, he's consistent. And Davis, he's had some rough nights where his shooting wasn't there, and then he would make the plays in the end because that's what great players do. But yes, it's a crapshoot with some of these other guys. These role players, again, that came from smaller schools. They may have put up good numbers to those smaller schools, but this is a step up. While the American Conference certainly isn't the Big 12, it's a step up from Sun Belt basketball and some of these other conferences.
Yeah, I mean, that's when you all of these, the transfer portal era, when guys make these leaps up in level of play from smaller conferences, and they're, maybe a dominant player there. You don't know. I mean, some make the transition smoothly and continue to be really good players at the next level. Others may struggle with it. You don't know for sure what you're going to get. But that's the way it's the idea is, hey, at least I know this guy can play well at the college level, rather than trying to counting on the kid making from the leap from the high school level to this level. This one, at least I've seen him at the college level and know he can be a great player at the college level, and figure that gives him a better chance to make that leap to the next level of college. It's a much smaller leap.
We'll talk much more about the Tigers in our next segment. To open up hour number 2, we'll be joined in studio by Parth Upadhyay, who is the Tigers basketball beat writer for the Daily Memphian. Little football news. A little surprising. Kendall Briles yesterday, the news coming down that he is leaving Arkansas as the offensive coordinator to go to TCU, to be the OC with the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that too. He had the flirtation with, I don't know who he flirted with last year and got a raise. Now ends up leaving, going to TCU. Arkansas filling that spot quickly, taking Dan Enos away from your Maryland Terrapins, as he will, according to all reports, be the new offensive coordinator at Arkansas. So a little offensive coordinator musical chairs. But yeah, I was a little surprised to see Briles leaving Arkansas when you've got KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders coming back. It's not a bad gig. It's not a bad gig to have.
And that's why it was surprising to me, because obviously on the surface you go, wait a minute, Arkansas is a middle to, I don't know if they're quite upper echelon, but certainly middle to a little bit above middle SEC team. TCU just played in the national championship game. Now, can they get back there? Can they continue to put seasons together like they did in Sonny Dykes' first year? That's to be determined. Obviously, all things worked out extremely well for them. But it's not crazy that here's a guy going to a team that just played for a national championship. But when you have Rocket Sanders and KJ Jefferson in the fold, to me, you have a lot of weapons just in those two guys. And if they get staying on the damn field, and that's a big if, because Jefferson got hurt. I'm not sure if Sanders got hurt at all last year, but Jefferson certainly did. You're in pretty good shape. You add pieces around them. You get an offensive line, and they usually have a pretty good offensive line when you have a offensive line guy in Sam Pittman as your head coach. It's tough to give up that gig, but who knows? TCU, just a better opportunity. I think he's from Texas. I'm not sure where it was from a financial offer, but it's not some ludicrous, crazy, shocking move that Kendall Briles made to leave Arkansas to go to the national runner-ups.
This hour of program is brought to you by Memphis Music Room. MemphisMusicRoom.com is the website. You can go to the website, get a lot of information about the place. If you want to host an event there, you certainly can do that. They've got all the details about all the things that they offer, whether it be a corporate event, whether it be something like a wedding, whatever. Memphis Music Room could certainly take care of you for that. They are all about local music and local musicians. That's the number one thing at Memphis Music Room. 901-808-5000 is the phone number. 5770 Shelby Oaks Drive. 5770 Shelby Oaks Drive. It is a massive place, seating up to 1,000. It's the largest privately owned and operated event center and music venue space in town. They've got state-of-the-art equipment, including 4K cameras, plus musical equipment, so you don't have to haul in and out your own equipment if you don't want to. They are dedicated to local music and local musicians at the Memphis Music Room. Again, go to memphismusicroom.com for more information on events they've got coming up and hosting your own event at the Memphis Music Room.
Talking Tigers when we return to open up hour number 2. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Golfers, tee it up this Thursday through Sunday at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the Callaway Fitting event and be the first to score the new Paradigm woods and irons. The woods are engineered with forged carbon to maximize distance and forgiveness. The irons feature a forged face for increased launch speed and spin. A new paradigm in performance. Go to worldwidegolfshops.com and reserve your free custom fitting experience happening this Thursday through Sunday. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
It's going on now at the Great American Home Store's year-end inventory reduction sale. Our warehouse is packed with over $5 million in quality-made home furnishings from top brands. We must sell down now to get ready for year-end inventory. We'd rather sell it than count this massive stock. We'll save you money on sofas, sectionals, dining rooms, bedrooms, everything marked at huge savings. If you've been planning to buy new furniture, don't miss this huge savings event. Imagine a new sofa or sectional, recliner, reclining sofas or sectionals, or maybe a new bedroom suit and mattress. Save $100, $300, $500, even as much as $1,000 off our already low prices. Plus 60 months of financing, 5 full years, no money down, no minimum purchase. You get both huge discounts and 60-month financing. We'd rather sell it than count it and save you money during this once-a-year inventory reduction sale only at your locally owned Great American Home Store or online at GoGAHS.com.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone. I went through it a while back. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text JUDGE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text JUDGE to 321-321. That's JUDGE to 321-321.
Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
The new year has begun, and Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike is starting the year right with a Start Something New sales event. How about 1.9 for up to 72 months? Plus, you may qualify for $2,000 bonus cash and $500 Conquest bonus cash towards your new 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited. Get 2022 Jeep Renegade Sport 4x4, $399 a month, or buy it for $28,990. You got a need for speed? We Gossett in 2022 Dodge Charger XSD, $470 a month. But if you can't find exactly what you're looking for, we can get your dream car ordered today. No extra charges, no market adjustments, no more than MSRP at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett on the Pike, or shop online GossettMotorcars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Cherokee P879072 MSRP 55432 1.972 months. Trader own any non-Stellantis vehicle must own for minimum of 30 days and have a current registration to qualify any 2023 Cherokee offer. Renegade NPN 79312 MSRP 30080. Charger NH261941 MSRP 35630. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2023. Dealer stock only.
Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company, we have it all. From handmade Amish leather belts, fine and casual clothing, boots, casual boots, work boots, fancy boots, and even safety-toed boots. Lots of cowboy hats to choose from, even Nebo lights, Orco hard coolers, good-looking duck head dress shirts, duck head caps, shorts, and pants. Tons of jeans from Ariat, Wrangler, Devil Dog, and Kimes Ranch jeans. At Hewlett & Dunn, we have a great selection of Old South t-shirts and caps. Fine clothing from dress to casual to Sunday best. Enjoy choosing from UFO's orthopedic-approved shoes. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. Boots of every size, every color, every skin. Great quality Western, work, and safety toe boots. Hewlett & Dunn Boots and Clothing Company. 111 North Center Street, Collierville. Hewlett & Dunn. Hewlett & Dunn, serving you and your family since 1961.
It's been a long time coming, but finally Sunrise on Jefferson has a sister restaurant, Sunrise East on Poplar. There might be days when you can't get all the way to Sunrise on Jefferson, so now you can swing by Sunrise East and get the best breakfast and lunch in Memphis, just like the original. Sunrise East is the place for fast, fresh, delicious food prepared just for you. It's the same laid-back atmosphere, the same cheerful staff, and the same wonderful food, only closer to those of you that live a little further east. Finally, there is Sunrise in the East.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Sports 56 traffic.
We still working both accidents on Riley LaGrange and Austin P Highway, and Riley LaGrange at Sycamore View. We got a few new accidents on the roadways. Accident on Wolf River at Riverdale. That's Wolf River Boulevard at Riverdale. Accident on Poplar at Germantown. Accident on Highway 385 West at Winchester. The right lane is blocked there. Perkins at Mallory. And then accident on 3rd Street and Mitchell. So please take it easy out on the roadways. This is your Sports 56 traffic update.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Having some fun on a Thursday morning. We welcome you back to Sports 56 Mornings, the Thursday, January 19th, 2023 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Zach Boyd with you from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, their floor model sale continues. They're located at 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 51 degrees. It will only get up to about 55 today, but at least it's sunshine after a rainy, stormy Wednesday in the Mid-South. Second hour of the program is brought to you by our friends at James Gaddis Jewelers. They are your family's jewelers. 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. There's going to be a lot of folks that will be getting engaged this spring, this summer. And if you're looking for that special engagement ring, wedding rings, this is the place to go. They are your bridal engagement and anniversary jeweler headquarters. Personally designed wedding sets, they can get that for you as well. They know this is a huge decision, picking out that right rock. And all their diamonds rather are independently graded and certified. They know there's a lot of competition out there, so they have a price point to suit everyone's budget. And James has all the credentials. He's a diamondologist. He's a master jeweler. You need something appraised? He's a certified appraiser. Bring it on over to James Gaddis Jewelers. Whether it be that special engagement ring, wedding rings, watches of all types, you need to head over to James Gaddis Jewelers. For gemstones and bracelets and necklaces and earrings and all that estate and vintage jewelry, and they're always adding to the collection, you need to head over to James Gaddis Jewelers. 2 repair experts ready to help you with fine watches and jewelry. Layaway and financing is available at James Gaddis Jewelers. 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. We are very pleased to be joined for the second time, but first time in studio, by Parth Upadhyay. He is the beat writer, Tigers basketball beat writer for the Daily Memphian. You can follow him on Twitter, and I'll spell it out at PUPADHYAYA_. And Parth joins us now. How are you, man?
Doing well. Like I mentioned, before we hopped on here, a little bit early for me.
But I'm pumped up, man. I'm happy to be here as always.
It's great to have you. You did an excellent job the first time around, and we really appreciate it and hope to do this a lot here in the future. Are you having fun covering Tigers basketball, this whole phenomenon in this city? And obviously the Grizzlies are huge, but the Tigers basketball program has always been big, as you have found out very quickly. But are you enjoying yourself?
Man, I'm having a blast. I've said it so many times before, but just growing up in Raleigh, North Carolina, growing up on ACC basketball, obviously this is not the ACC. This is not, necessarily Power 5 basketball, but it is high major basketball, and the fan base and the passion of the fan base is very similar to kind of what I grew up on. That's awesome to see.
And it's, as we've talked about before with you, but like you come in and it's not only that, but it's also Penny Hardaway as the head coach, a legend in the city and a legend at the school, which adds a little extra effect to it, because you don't often get the head coach who is also a massive legend.
Yeah, and obviously Memphis legend, but just NBA legend in general. So folks in the basketball world are definitely tuned into what's going on here in Memphis, Tennessee.
So I wonder if you agree or disagree with this statement. I've always thought that once Penny has his presser or post-game or does his radio show, once you're able to talk to him, he's unbelievable. The information he gives you, he shoots from the hip. He's not afraid to say anything. It isn't coach speak. Now, getting information when he's not publicly speaking is a lot tougher with the Tigers than maybe other places. And I know you're just really young in your career. You haven't been to 50,000 different places. But I know that other people have said, it's tough to get this information or to confirm that story. But when you get the opportunity to talk to Penny, he seems to be a fairly open book.
That's exactly right. And I think it's the whole team, right? The team takes after their coach. Kendrick Davis's comment, I'm a bad MFer. These guys tell it like it is, and that's awesome. And kind of to your point earlier, the access, let's be real, it's not fantastic. We don't get to go to shoot around, don't get to go to practice, don't really get one-on-ones with Penny all that often, or at all, rather. But when you do get Penny in that press conference setting, in a public setting, he is as good of a quote as I've ever covered in my young career.
So the team itself, what is your impression? What do you think of this team and how good they are and kind of where they sit right now as far as NCAA tournament and everything? What's kind of been your overall impression of them?
Yeah, I think they're in a little bit of a tough spot, and I'm not saying anything that most folks don't know that have been tuned into the Tigers this season, but you saw the team at full strength, right, with all 10 or 11 of their rotation guys in the non-conference slate, and they needed every single one of those players, despite what Penny said about shortening the rotation. They needed every single guy to beat Auburn, to go to Tuscaloosa and take that number 4 Alabama team down to the wire. And you've seen kind of the attrition to the roster, the injuries kind of take a toll on this squad. And I think that's obviously a big reason why you're seeing, kind of night and day difference between what we saw in the non-conference slate and what we're seeing now.
They're hanging their hat on defense. And at times, especially in the non-conference portion of their schedule, we saw that defense really carry them. We've also seen the defense collapse, especially in conference play, not guarding the perimeter, giving up open threes, giving dribble drive penetration. And I know yesterday Penny talked about before they practiced how they need to get much, much better with rebounding. And he said by watching film, they have discovered that there's too much standing around. But what do you see the difference in how they're playing now defensively in conference play versus what they did non-conference?
Yeah, I think now, and you saw a little bit of this before, so you kind of saw the warning signs, so to speak, early on, even in non-conference play, but I think guys are just getting beat off the dribble. You see it time and time again, and that's leading to the kickouts, wide open threes, guys are on islands, or it's leading to foul trouble where they're attacking DeAndre because they know he's, likely prone to foul trouble. And they don't have that big guy in the middle. They don't have a Jalen Duren, standing there in front of the basket ready to protect the rim.
Do you think they really miss Malco to be that guy? He's not Duren. Believe me, I'm not comparing him to Jalen Duren's talent, but he's a monster of a man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, some people might look at Malcolm's stats and say, okay, he averaged whatever he averaged, 8 points, 4 rebounds. I don't think it's that simple, right? You can't just say, okay, I'm going to add 8 points to the total. I'm going to add 4 rebounds. It's his presence that matters, right? You got another 6'9", 240, 250 guy, like you said, a big man in the middle that's drawing attention. And even if he's not getting a rebound, maybe he's clearing some room for other guys to get a rebound. Maybe he's, just his presence makes opposing teams think twice before driving in the paint.
What's interesting is a lot of the fans have wanted KO to get more minutes because that is the guy who, at least defensively, can be the rim protector. But the problem with him is he's not a good rebounder. So even at his size, like having him out there really doesn't, because he doesn't get rebounds the way you would expect somebody of his size.
No, he played 18 minutes last game, got his first start, and didn't register a single rebound.
Yeah.
And I think that obviously really hurt them in a game where they were out-rebounded by 17 rebounds. That's the biggest rebounding differential in, Penny Hardaway's 5 years.
So it's hard to put him out there. Again, it's great to have the rim protector, as you talk about when guys get beat off the dribble, all that stuff. But if he's not going to rebound, because we know on the offensive end he's not going to give you much. So it's going to be hard to have him out there just as a rim protector.
Absolutely, and I think Penny has said time and time again, yeah, he's getting better, he's developing. I think it's tough to be patient now when you've got 8 guys available, right? You got Ian Granja, but they don't really play him, right? So you got 8 regular rotation guys available, and it's tough to wait for that development when you're in mid-January. You're sitting right on the bubble. In some projections, you're sitting outside of that bubble, right? So they need him to produce now, and I think, kind of like I said, the waiting game is a little bit tough to play right now.
How many times can Kendrick Davis pull him out of the fire?
Man, he is special, isn't he? Wow.
Well, think about this. Every team's game planning for him. They know that Memphis is limited offensively. They have to game plan for DeAndre Williams as well. But it's basically 2 guys. So they know that they have to game plan for him. They're going to make it hard. They'll double him at times. I would double him all the time. So his shooting percentage is lower than probably what most people thought it would be.
Especially his three-point percentage.
His three-point percentage is not there as well. But there's so much pressure that young man is carrying on his shoulders. I mean, let alone away from the basketball court. He has a kid and all. But on the team itself, I mean, it seems like there are times when they're standing around waiting to see what he can do. And usually he comes through big time. But, I mean, you go to that well too many times, and sometimes you're going to drown.
Yeah, and I think Keontae Kennedy said it best yesterday. We asked him his reaction to Kendrick Davis's game winner against Temple. And he said, I just want to thank Kendrick again because he saved me and Elijah. I mean, you saw what happened, I think, 5 seconds prior to that bucket that Kendrick shot. Out of a timeout, man. Out of a timeout.
Right.
Temple sets a screen, and both Keontae and Elijah McCadden follow the roll guy instead of looking at the one guy who's, been effective from three-point range, Damian Dunn, all game. How does that happen, right?
These are veteran players. These are veteran players that have been around a long time.
Who had made threes, and also they need a 3, and you go with the guy who's down in the lane. It's like very confusing what you'd possibly be thinking at that time.
Greg, so I think to answer your question, Kendrick can do that. I mean, obviously he's playing at an All-American level. He was a preseason All-American, so he is capable of carrying this team night in and night out, and I think he can do the same for the 13 more games or whatever it may be for the regular season. But what we can't have, or what they can't have rather, is guys that are, hurting them instead of helping them. Does that kind of make sense?
Mm-hmm.
How do you get concerned about him just wearing down as the season goes along? I mean, he's playing a ton of minutes, and now with Lomax out, it's really hard to get him rest because who are you going to put at the point guard position? And when he's out there in the court, he's constantly got the ball. He's got to be doing a lot of stuff. Do you worry about him wearing down at all?
Yeah, absolutely. And if it's not so much a worry about him wearing down to the point where he's going to sit out, because I don't think that's who Kendrick is. We saw him play on two bum ankles for multiple games, right? But in that stretch, and I can't recall the exact games that I'm referencing here, but there was a stretch of 3 or 4 games before that Auburn game, if you recall, where he was not shooting well at all, right? Like he was in kind of that Alex Lomas slump. How we saw Alo kind of had that shooting slump beginning of the year. At that time, I think what was different was you're getting, let's say 8 points from Alo. You're getting 6 points from Malcolm. You're getting something from Keontae, something from Elijah. Now there's no Alo. Now there's no Malco, and you're not getting that same production from guys like Keontae Kennedy. And that's, I think, the biggest worry is when Kendrick can't, score 25 points, what's going to happen?
They're going to lose. That's what
exactly.
That's what's going to happen.
Exactly.
One of those guys, and you didn't mention his name, but I think to this point has been a little bit underwhelming, and that's Damari Franklin, because Penny built him up, and obviously he had to sit around and wait until the waiver was granted by the NCAA. He started out, I thought, really good. 6 rebounds each of his first 2 games. So you got a guard who's rebounding, which they really need. But he has struggled. He has struggled offensively. He's missed some bunnies in games. I mean, just layups. What is his issue, and is it just a matter of these guys that are these auxiliary players, they came from smaller schools, and they were decent on those schools, but maybe they're just not as talented as maybe they're built up to be.
Yeah, I think DeMarie Franklin, the thing that was most exciting, and you kind of alluded to it, was his athleticism, right? Like you saw in, I think it was 18 minutes against Alabama, grabbing 6 rebounds, and, he was a big part of why they almost pulled that off at the end, if you recall,
right?
The closing minutes of that game. And you kind of saw that athleticism even against A&M and a couple of those early games, but, we haven't really seen that as of late. And I think it's a 2-part thing. I think one part is, Penny's been messing with the rotations a little bit, and he hasn't really played consistently. He hasn't played 18, 20 minutes a night consistently. And I think the second part is, if you look at him, looks like he's in his own head a little bit. And Penny kind of said that yesterday. The guy's pressing so hard. The guy's trying so hard. And I don't think Penny did him any favors, man, with the way he was described, right? Like before he was eligible, saying that
he builds up players. He's good at doing that.
That's one thing I'm learning. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday after the presser. After the Memphis basketball presser, anything Penny says, you got to turn that dial down maybe 2 notches, right?
He goes to 11, that's for sure. I mean, he's had
doubt.
Jaden's been the best shooter in the country. I don't remember all the. He's had the best in the country at a lot of different things on his team through the years.
No doubt.
Jonathan Lawson, another guy that a lot of fans would like to see more of. Now, last game he went 0 for 4 from 3-point range. He didn't make shots, but before that he was shooting 50% from 3-point range in the limited time he gets. Do you see more minutes from him, and what do you see as what it will take from him to get more minutes?
I think now, by default, right, you're going to see more minutes from him. They've got 8 guys available. You're going to see more minutes from everybody, quite frankly. But I think, what they need from him is kind of, better defense, like knowing where he is on the court, right, during those defensive rotations. And they need just him they need him to play within himself. They need him not to turn the ball over. And to take smart quality looks. And I think if they can get that, that would certainly help.
All right, so this is a 2-parter, just your opinion. Fully healthy, the roster. What should the starting 5 be, in your opinion? And right now, while you have these 3 guys out, like, for example, for tonight, what do you think would be the best starting 5?
Man, this is a fun question. You asked me this last time as well. I think, to answer the first part, right, fully healthy, you've got to go back to the backcourt of Kendrick and Alo. Because even though Alo can be an offensive liability, man, like what he was providing, I think the fans who were skeptical of him starting are seeing that now, right? You're seeing...
I was one.
Yeah. And
no, you're right about that.
And myself too, early on in the season. But just his presence out there, his ability to stop runs, his ability to jump those passing lanes, and when they cranked up that intensity on defense, when they went to that circle defense, as Penny Hardaway calls it, who was spearheading that? Alex Lomax, right?
Without question.
No doubt.
Okay.
We've seen it time and time again. So you put Alo back in the backcourt. Elijah McAdams playing fabulously. He's averaging, I think, 10 points per game on nearly 60% shooting over this AAC 5-game stretch. So you put him at the 3. DeAndre obviously is going to be at the 4, and you go back to Chandler, I think.
So you'd go. You're going now, or you're going fully healthy?
I'm going fully healthy.
So you would not bring Malco back as a starter. You'd stay with Chandler.
I think I'd stay with Chandler. I think Malco, even when he was playing, right, he wasn't necessarily starting. I can't even remember if he registered.
Well, the first 2 games, Malco started at center. And
That's
yeah,
right.
he did. He started the first because I did those games. And then Chandler, all of a sudden, Chandler was starting, and he was starting his son. So you would keep McCadden in the starting lineup.
I would definitely keep
and have
McCadden in the
Jaden
starting
come off
lineup.
the bench.
Have Jaden come off the bench and have Malcolm come off the bench at least early on, right? He hasn't played for several games. You want to see the guy work his way back. You don't know what kind of shape he's going to be in, after sitting out all these games.
That's a good point.
So maybe you play him 10, 12 minutes and see what you've got, kind of work him back into maybe, like you said, starters form, and then sub him in for Chandler Lawson. And second part of your question now with...
Like tonight, what would you do if you were the coach?
Well, Penny said he's going with the same starting 5. If I'm the coach, I think you got to do that, and you got to see what KO can bring early on. Is KO going to rebound the ball well? Is he going to be in the right spots defensively? Is he going to be in the right spots to grab those boards? And once you get a sample size of that, then you can kind of see if you want to ride with K or maybe sub Chandler or Lawson in.
Okay, that's fair.
The thing, too, with Malcolm, even when he's healthy, like, you're probably going to be playing him in shorter spurts anyway, so maybe coming off the bench is the better way to go. I mean, he just always had injury problems. I'm not sure how good, even when healthy, how healthy he truly is.
Yeah, I have no problem with Malcolm coming off the bench, Chandler starting, or KO starting. But again, this is a young man who I like because he alters shots, and when guys dribble and they see him at the very end of the defense, they go, "Oh, I got to get the shot over him." But the rebounding is worrisome. And being out-rebounded by 17 is absolutely crazy. So we'll see how...
And that's not all on KO, just to be fair.
No, on the team. But I'm saying yesterday they were going to go through a rigorous practice where they were going to make sure that these guys were in position to rebound the basketball. A lot of times it's effort, right? It's not just size, it's effort.
Right.
And that's why I see guys like Russell Westbrook over the year, all those triple doubles. He's not a big guy, but he got in a position to get the rebounds. Effort. So we'll see what they do tonight as far as getting into the right positions. Okay, so Jerry Palm is a regular on our show, but I've seen Lenardi's bracketology. They got him in the show right now. I think both have him in Dayton, if I'm not mistaken. I know Jerry does. So there's not a lot of room for mess ups.
There's not, no.
So what do you? I think they could certainly give Houston a run. I really do. I think they can. I'm not going to sit here and say Houston's going to sweep 3 games from them if they play in the conference tournament as well. But it wouldn't be shocking if they did. So let's just take Houston out of the equation. What can they afford the rest of the way in the conference to still be an at-large?
You've got 13 games left. And the way I'm thinking about it, Memphis's path to the big dance, to the NCAA tournament, does not include Houston. I've got them penciled, not penned, losing both of those Houston games.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't think they match up well with Houston. Houston rebounds the ball as good as anybody in the country. Memphis rebounds the ball as worse as anybody in the country. I think that's going to be a matchup nightmare for them. So if you're canceling those games out, I think you've got to get at least out of Cincinnati at home, Cincinnati on the road coming up. You've got a rematch with Tulane or a rematch with UCF. You got to get 3 of those 4, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah. If not all 4.
If not all 4.
Yeah, I would say the Cincinnati Rookers losing at home would be costly. It's hard to, you don't want to try to overcome a home loss at this point.
So are you thinking 3 out of those 4,
and then no more losses?
No more losses.
Yeah,
so I think that's probably right.
So out of the 13 games, you got to go.
And get to
11 of 13, 10 of 13. That's like the most. Even then, you're sitting on the edge of your seat come Selection Sunday if you're Penny Hardaway.
Well, and then also in the conference tournament, if you're going to lose in the conference tournament, it needs to be to Houston.
Absolutely, you can't mess around and lose to
lose a semifinal game to somebody else.
To a Tulane again, it's not gonna go well.
Losing to Houston in a final is okay.
And Greg, even if they do what I'm suggesting or do what I'm predicting. They go 10 of 13. They lose the 2 to Houston and maybe lose 1 to Cincy this Sunday on the road or whatever it may be. I think if you lose that game to Cincy, you've now penciled yourself in, or penned yourself in rather, for the play-in, for that 11 seed play-in, for that 12 seed play-in at that point.
Well, it just boggles the mind when you look at, now obviously they lost that game to Alabama. I mean, you don't get a moral victory chip. They blew the game against Seton Hall on a banked, crazy 3-point shot. But they came out of now you haven't been here, but they have come out of non-conference play in better shape than they've come out of it in all the other prior years that Penny's been the coach. They've always put themselves in a position where they're not going to make the tournament because the way they played non-conference. Last year, they made up for it by what they did against Houston and how hot they got at the end of the year. And, of course, they had a lot of talent on that team. Guy got drafted in the first round. Guy got drafted in the second round. Quinones, who's playing, it was here with the Golden State Warriors G League team last night. So you had a lot more talent on that team, a lot more talent. But they come out of this year's non-conference, and you go, they're in pretty good shape. And they lose to 2 of the better teams in the conference, but still, that's how bad this conference is, that even if you lose to Tulane and UCF,
There's not room to recover.
There's not room to recover.
There's not opportunities to recover.
Well, there is, but
Houston.
Yeah, but we're saying that they're losing. You're saying that losing the 2 games to Houston. I mean, if you beat Houston just like last year, well, then you've recovered.
Right, but Houston is the number. And again, I think I understand you saying they don't match up well, and you're right about that. But they always seem to step up. I think they'll play them. I wouldn't be shocked if they won one of those games. But the point being is, Houston happens to be the best in the American, but they happen to be the best in the country. They're number one.
Exactly.
It's not just like this is a Houston team picked to win the American, and they're a fringe top 25 team, so they're better than Memphis, but maybe not by that much.
No, it's a national title contender.
They're a national
Make no
title
doubt
contender,
about it,
so you're not expected to win those games. And therefore, if you slip up and lose just 1 or 2 in the conference because the conference is so bad.
There's no shame in that.
There's no shame in that,
Zero.
but it puts you on the outside looking in, even though you did the damage in the non-conference portion of your schedule. That makes it really tough. That's why every single game, and I know it's coach speak, but they have to take every single game separately. And I wonder, and this is the last thing for you here.
Sure.
Do you think that some of these guys, most of these guys came in from other places, smaller schools, smaller conferences? They come in, they play really well as a unit in the non-conference portion of their schedule. Beat Auburn, play these tough games, win on the road at Vanderbilt. Do you think they took the American Conference a little bit for granted? I'm talking about individual players as they started to play in the American Conference going, because all you heard was it's a bad conference except for Houston and Memphis.
Right.
And then they've stumbled out of the gate, even struggling a bit in the games they've won, right? Including the Temple game, which took a miracle shot. Do you think they took it a little bit for granted?
I think at first you could say that, right? When they came out against what was it, USF and struggled against ECU and they struggled and they lost to Tulane. But I think now there's no excuse. You can't make that excuse anymore. Their eyes have been opened after those first 2 or 3 games. I think now, unfortunately, this is the team at full strength right now with what they have. You know, not at full strength, obviously, with the guys that are out.
Right.
But with the 8 guys that they have, this is the team with their eyes wide open, knowing what they're going into. This is what they have, right? Like, they got Kendrick Davis, they got DeAndre Williams, and they got a whole lot of role players. And when those role players are not playing well, or when they're hurting you in certain situations, it's not going to go well.
2 first-team all-conference players they have. They should be able to beat Wichita State. They should be able to beat Cincinnati. But it'll be interesting. Landers Nolly, of course, the former Tiger, will be ready and waiting on Sunday. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tonight, of course, Wichita State, 6 o'clock. And the first of the bobbleheads of the 72-73 team that went to the national championship lost to Bill Walton and UCLA. Gene Bartow, the coach of that team, that will be tonight's bobblehead. So pick up a little Gene Bartow bobblehead tonight if you head on over to the game. Parth, it's been great having you in studio. Really appreciate it.
This is awesome, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Make sure to read Parth at the Daily Memphian. He's Parth Upadhyay. And you can follow him on Twitter at PUPADHYAYA_. All right, we'll take a quick time out. Before we do so, though, I want to tell you folks about Dinstall's Fine Candies and Chocolates. They've been making people happy for over 120 years. Yeah, I bet they're doing something right to be around that long. And like I said, they're putting smiles on everybody's faces. Whether you're watching football, basketball, or just have a sweet tooth, make sure you pick up your favorite goodies at Dinstall's. You're going to have that Super Bowl party, right? You're going to have all the wings and the pizza and the burgers and all that stuff. Well, how about some Dinstall's candies as well for all the folks at your Super Bowl party? They want to thank you, to all the Memphis residents here, all the folks in the Mid-South that supported them for the 120 years they've been in existence. They want to wish you all a happy, healthy, and sweet New Year. 5 convenient locations. If you haven't had Dinstall's, man, you're missing, folks. You're missing out. Hope to see you soon at Laurelwood, Germantown, Collierville, Pleasant View, or the downtown location. It's Dinstall's Fine Candies and Chocolates. We'll take a quick time out. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's going on now at the Great American Home Store's year-end inventory reduction sale. Our warehouse is packed with over $5 million in quality-made home furnishings from top brands. We must sell down now to get ready for year-end inventory. We'd rather sell it than count this massive stock. We'll save you money on sofas, sectionals, dining rooms, bedrooms, everything marked at huge savings. If you've been planning to buy new furniture, don't miss this huge savings event. Imagine a new sofa or sectional, reclining sofas or sectionals, or maybe a new bedroom suite and mattress. Save $100, $300, $500, even as much as $1,000 off our already low prices. Plus 60 months of financing, 5 full years, no money down, no minimum purchase. You get both huge discounts and 60-month financing. We'd rather sell it than count it and save you money during this once-a-year inventory reduction sale only at your locally owned Great American Home Store or online at GoGAHS.com.
With winter arriving, we start to think about spirit, and I've got the spirit I think about. It's from Old Dominick. You know Old Dominick? That is our hometown distillery, right in the heart of downtown. Old Dominick, by the way, gives full distillery tours with curated tastings. There's craft cocktails. It is really a neat place to go. So when you're looking for something to do downtown, something a little different, I suggest you go see my friends at Old Dominick. The other aspect about Old Dominick is the product itself. What a great spirit that they have just finally released. So they have this master distiller. Her name is Alex Castle. She won't let anything be released until it's perfect. We've been waiting a long time for 2 whiskeys. One's a sipping, the other is bottle in bond. They are incredible. It took a long time, but Old Dominick has finally released those 2 whiskeys. You will love the spirit at Old Dominick.
You don't have to go through yet another year with that knee pain or back pain. People with chronic joint pain are getting real lasting relief from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. Their unique protocols use healing agents from your own body to target aching joints, repairing and restoring damaged tissue, so you can move again with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Got shoulder pain, excruciating hip pain? If you have any arthritis pain or lingering pain from an injury, don't let them operate on you or give you more steroids, and say no to the pain pills. Call QC Kinetics and see if their life-changing, all-natural treatments can get you living your best life in the new year. I'm telling you, people are raving about these treatments. And appointments are available as soon as next week. Make 2023 the year you say goodbye to joint pain. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 901-445-1010. 901-445-1010. That's 901-445-1010 for QC Kinetics.
It's time to get your Kia on at Gossett Kia on the Pike. And Bobby J is ready to put you in a new Kia today. You ready for a road trip? How about 41 MPG highway and your new 2023 Kia Forte LXS? $254 a month, 36-month lease, $27.99 due at signing. Or rock out in your new 2023 Kia Soul. Only $272 a month, 36-month lease, $27.99 due at signing. And if we don't have what you want, not a problem. Let Bobby J order a new ride for you today, and you won't pay over MSRP. Plus, you always get Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today at Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Forte LXS PE 573-573, MSRP 21,335, Soul P 789,935, MSRP 21,835. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2023. Dealer stock only. Warranties and limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
The NFL playoffs are here, and the easiest way to get into the action is with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. New customers get started with $150 in free bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just sign up with promo code WIN. FanDuel has all your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props, all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Place your first $5 bet to get $150 in free bets, win or lose, with promo code WIN. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus in select states. Must be present in select states to wager. First online real money wager only. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbookfanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. For Colorado, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia, West Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In Arizona, 1-888-789-4300. 1-888-977-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 Wyoming, Kansas, or visit ksgamblinghelp.com. 1-877-770-STOP Louisiana. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. TN Redline 1-800-889-9789 in Tennessee.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Still working an accident on Raleigh LaGrange at Sycamore View. Also accident on Poplar at Germantown. Perkins at Mallory. We got some new accidents on the roadways. Perkins at Park Avenue. Accident on 240 West at Walnut Grove. The right shoulder is blocked. And then accident on Mullen Station at Whidden Road are your new accidents. So just take it easy out on the roadways. This is your Sports 56 traffic update.
Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings.
Isn't it a lovely morning?
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
I want to thank Parth for joining us. Good stuff. Again, the Tigers tonight. 6 o'clock tip against Wichita State in the Gene Bartow bobblehead giveaway.
Reggie texted in, says Malcolm is the difference maker the rest of the way. He will raise their level of play. They will not lose another game he plays except maybe 1 or 2 to Houston.
Well, I don't know if I'll go that far, but I like what he's saying. I think Malco was playing really, really well. And before the injury, he was a pretty dominant player. He can't go long spurts, but I think he can be back to, once he gets acclimated to being back on the court, a dominant player. The problem is that it's going to take some time. You just don't go from an injury and being laid up to all of a sudden being 100%.
Another texter says, y'all are overstating how dire the Tigers' tourney hopes are. Texas A&M and Auburn keep winning. Those wins are key. They will be okay if they don't take multiple bad losses. I think that's actually what we said.
That's what we're talking about.
That's exactly what we said. But, okay.
What we're saying is that there's just not a lot of room to screw up, and that's the truth. Right. If they run the table, lose a couple to Houston, they're in fine shape. Now, they're not going to be a 2 seed, but if they take a bad loss somewhere, they're probably, if you're into the bracketology, on the outside looking in. If they lost tonight to Wichita State, even with a win at Cincinnati on Sunday, I think when Jerry does his bracketology on Monday, they'd be out because that's a bad loss, and it's a home loss.
Well, this would be a quad 4 loss. I mean,
right.
You can't.
That's my point. Again, that's what we're saying. The margin of error is slim. But I could also see the Tigers not quite running the table, but rolling here over these next whatever opponents till they get to Houston, including beating Tulane and UCF at home. I think they'll pay them back. The problem is
quad 3, by the way.
Okay. The problem is with this team, if they had just some semblance of shooting, for me, I feel really good about this team. Really good. Knowing that, Kennedy was a consistent 36% three-point shooter, or DeMarie Franklin can get to the hole and finish. These guys are so inconsistent. And at sometimes they've been inconsistently bad. They've hurt the team. And Davis has pulled them out of the fire. And then when Williams is fouled out of games, it's put them into a dire situation. But they've been in all the games. They had a couple of tough losses in non-conference play in which they played well. They could still score the basketball. They just can't shoot from the outside when it comes down to making that big three-point shot. But Davis obviously made a huge corner 2 in the win over Temple. But how many times is that guy going to have to pull you out of the fire? Everybody that's a supplementary player, an auxiliary player, still has to step up. They can't stand around and watch and wait for Davis to do what he did. They were down 9 in the second half. Remember, Davis struggled in the first half, and then he got going in the second half, and Williams was consistent. DeAndre had a good game. He had a good, solid game, and he will need that the whole way. They are depending on 2 players, and then the rest of the guys are role players. And that Penny will tell you that. That's how Penny set that up. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, as long as those auxiliary players do their job and try not to do too much.
Yeah, they need production from just some production. And they need DeAndre on the floor at the end of games.
Yeah, that's it. All right, NFL announcing today that there will be 5 international games next year in 2023, 2 in Germany, 3 in England, and the Tennessee Titans among those teams. The Titans will be playing a game in London. They will play, and they're the designated home team at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So that means there'll be 8 home games in Nashville for the Titans next year, with that 9th game being a designated home team in London. The NFL Divisional Round Series
By the way,
is this weekend.
So the Patriots are one of the teams that will be playing a international game. They'll be playing one of the Germany games. Them and the Chiefs will be playing in Germany. Bills, Titans, and Jaguars. Jaguars are contractually obligated. They play every year in London at Wembley. Would it be you can't put the Patriots in England, right? Like, would that be offensive to the England people if the New England Patriots are playing in their country? So if you're going to put the Patriots in an international game, it's got to be Germany, right? You can't possibly rub the New England Patriots in the face of the English people, can you? Or has enough time passed? Can they accept the New England Patriots in England, or is that an offensive nickname and stuff for them? Like, would they be like, no, you can't bring those people over here? Or does that mean they just all cheer for whoever's playing the Patriots?
I don't know if they had the old logo with the Patriot who's hiking the ball. If he was on the side of the helmet, I think that might be a problem. Or if they chanted "Join the Revolution," I don't know. Any references to Boston Tea Parties? I think enough time has gone by. I would hope. Who knows though?
I don't know. People. I mean, we're not talking just any little. This wasn't just a little feud. This wasn't they like got in an argument one day and like they're like, okay, you know what? So what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm right. Like it's a pretty big deal. Like I don't know. Like obviously none of those people are still alive. Like they didn't fight, and none of the people on either side fought in the war. But like it was a pretty big deal. Like when you break free from a country, like it seems to be a pretty big deal. I could see how some people might carry a grudge, and having it rubbed in my face that you are the New England Patriots could be a little offensive to me.
Well, they're kin of those people that lost, that went down back in '76. A nice triumph for what would be the United States of America. Do you have like a guy playing Paul Revere, getting on a horseback and going through the streets of London, and the Redcoats are coming? I don't know. You can rub it into their faces, but I don't think they would do that. I think the Patriots would be fine in England, but I think probably better safe than sorry. Put them in Germany. Put them in Germany.
When I saw the role, I'm like, come on, we're not going to put them in England. Okay, they put them in Germany. They're not gonna tempt fate.
We had some issues with Germany too, though.
Yeah, but I'm again, but
more recent.
We're not called the New Germany Patriots. They're called the New England Patriots.
Right.
We are literally the new version of you.
Exactly. All right, so this weekend. Jacksonville, Kansas City on Saturday. That line is 9. I don't think that's moved. The Giants in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a 7.5-point favorite. I think that line's been pretty solid. Then Sunday, Cincinnati and Buffalo. Buffalo still a 5.5-point favorite. And San Francisco is a 4-point favorite over Dallas. So the question, I guess, would be over in the NFC, just how healthy is Jalen Hurts? Or how hurt is Jalen Hurts?
Well, they've taken him off the injury report, so appears he's pretty. I don't know whether that's. I don't know if he's 100%, but he must be pretty darn healthy.
That's the report, though, is from what I've heard from the so-called experts that cover the NFL, that Hurts is still struggling with the shoulder. I mean, he can make throws,
but he can't make all the throws and that there's a lot of pain. And so the Giants will undoubtedly go after Hurts, probably go after that shoulder. Hurts will use his legs, as he always does. But that makes it interesting, though, with the return from injury for Jalen Hurts, because when he was 100%, Philadelphia looked unbeatable. But since that injury, obviously, subsequently, he missed games. Philadelphia very vulnerable. And the Giants are playing well. Got to give it up to the Giants. Got to give it up to Brian Daboll, what he has done, the changes that they have made. Saquon Barkley looks like the Barkley that terrorized NFL defenses when he was a rook coming out of Penn State. And Danny Dimes, you guys want to make fun of him, you go ahead and make fun of him. I'm not making fun of him. I think he's an NFL quarterback. I think he's a legit NFL quarterback. And I would not be surprised if the Giants make this real interesting and maybe even shock the Eagles on Saturday. Jacksonville, Kansas City. I think this is going to be one of those deals where Jacksonville's just happy to be there. Hey, we're just happy to be a part of this. We're in the final 8. I would be surprised if Jacksonville is even relatively close in this game.
Trevor Lawrence has played great other than the first half last week, and Doug Peterson has a way as an underdog, especially in the postseason.
On Sunday, Cincinnati and Buffalo, that's the one that I can't wait to see. I'm sure a lot of folks are in the same boat as I. Cincinnati, Buffalo. Buffalo in the playoffs over the course of their history are almost unbeatable. But I just like Cincinnati. I think Buffalo and Josh Allen have turned it over, and if they turn it over against Cincinnati, that could be a problem. And then Dallas and San Francisco is another intriguing game. Dak Prescott picked a really good time to come out of his funk as he played arguably his best game of the season in the win at Tampa Bay. The defense was swarming. Brock Purdy in the San Francisco win last week missed on a lot of throws early, and then he got into a groove, and he clicked. If you get him rattled, if Micah Parsons can get to Purdy, because he hasn't really been touched much since he took over, I wonder how he'll respond to that.
We don't know. And we'll see if the Cowboys defense can do that, and hopefully they can, because if you let him sit back there and pick you apart, again, the Cowboys have to stop the run with McCaffrey and Debo and everything else. But if you're letting him stand back there with those weapons, they're going to pick you apart because they've just got too many guys to try and cover. So that'll be Parsons absolutely has to, and DeMarcus Lawrence, whoever. The Cowboys have to get pressure on him, but they also got to figure out a way to stop the run. I mean, they got to put it to a position where Purdy actually has to throw the ball, because it might be McCaffrey and Debo and everybody running all over them to begin with. And so if you can't stop the run, and by run, I mean that includes the little short passes, swing passes, and things like that are so effective in running with McCaffrey and Samuel. So that's going to be the big test. And then can Dak put together back-to-back games like that? And then the question about the kicking game will loom until the kicker gets on the field and actually makes a kick for the Cowboys.
Yeah, Vizcaino is a guy they signed. He's on the team right now, but whether or not
it's on the practice squad.
He's on the practice squad, but whether or not they elevate him will depend on what obviously has been happening in practice this week, which we're not privy to.
Which they had to go out. Jerry say we're not going to look at kickers. That would be a disservice to your team. Like literally a disservice to your team. Like you can't just ignore what happened. Like your kicker has the yips. You can't just ignore that and be like, no, everything's going to be fine. Like you had to go out and make an effort and say whatever. Like we have to have some backup plan in case the yips continue. So I'm glad they at least went and got somebody and acknowledged the fact that, hey, by the way, our kicker's real struggling. Like we got an issue here. This isn't just something we can ignore and go, yeah, we're going to trust the guy. He's fine. He'll be just fine. You can't just ignore that and try and look at the team in your face and act like you really like that. There's no way you can do that. And we'll see what happens if Maher, again, he'll probably cook well in practice. It's whether you can take that onto the field when there's a little pressure on in the game and continue to do it. Sunrise, The new East Memphis location opened, serving breakfast and lunch, the great breakfast and lunch that you get at the original location at 670 Jefferson Avenue. Now you've got it in East Memphis, right there on Poplar Avenue in the old Blue Plate Cafe building. If you haven't been to Sunrise, or one of those people out east who's never been able to get down to the one on Jefferson, you need to get out and try it. It's absolutely fantastic. The breakfast is awesome, from the biscuit sandwiches to all of the other great things on the menu. Great selection of Bloody Marys if you want to go in there on the weekend or during the week if you're not working, want to go have a Bloody Mary. They've got a huge selection of different kinds of Bloody Mary. The lunch is fantastic as well. The bacon cheeseburger, other sandwiches and salads on the lunch menu. You can check it all out at Sunrise. Sunrise901.com is the website where you can check out their menu. You can also order online for pickup if you would like to do so, but go check them out. Again, now in East Memphis. Still got the original at 670 Jefferson Avenue, but in East Memphis on Poplar Avenue in the old Blue Plate Cafe building. They are Sunrise.
So big news for the Live Tour. We'll get to that when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Basketball was born on the court, but it doesn't have to remain there. This NBA season, Hennessy celebrates creatives like Victor Solomon, who take the game beyond the floor. Their work isn't just inspired by the sport, it helps us see it through a new lens. Hennessy, the spirit of the NBA. Never stop, never settle. Please drink responsibly. Imported cognac Hennessy, 40% alcohol by volume. 2023. Imported by Moet Hennessy USA Incorporated, New York, New York. Hennessy is a registered trademark.
It's going on now at the Great American Home Store's year-end inventory reduction sale. Our warehouse is packed with over $5 million in quality-made home furnishings from top brands. We must sell down now to get ready for year-end inventory. We'd rather sell it than count this massive stock. We'll save you money on sofas, sectionals, dining rooms, bedrooms, everything marked at huge savings. If you've been planning to buy new furniture, don't miss this huge savings event. Imagine a new sofa or sectional, reclining sofas or sectionals, or maybe a new bedroom suite and mattress. Save $100, $300, $500, even as much as $1,000 off our already low prices. Plus 60 months of financing, 5 full years, no money down, no minimum purchase. You get both huge discounts and 60-month financing. We'd rather sell it than count it and save you money during this once-a-year inventory reduction sale only at your locally owned Great American Home Store or online at GoGAHS.com.
I'm Kelly Erb with Mark Spensdorf Realtors, and I just had to ask, Sheldon, did you really just buy a set of golf clubs and you never tried them out?
Yep, that's right.
And Sheldon, didn't you tell me whenever you buy a car, you never test drive it?
Again? Yep.
Don't you think that's pretty bizarre since you always tell people to talk to 2 or 3 agents when they sell their home?
Yes, it is. I'm Sheldon Rosengarten, and I'm also with Mark Spensdorf Realtors with Kelly. It's funny, we tell people that you should always talk to more than one agent to find out not only what they think about your home, but more importantly, what they will do for you. And you really need to make sure and include us in the interview process.
I agree, because how are you going to find out about our strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option? And as people often say, when you want the job done, call Sheldon.
That's Sheldon Rosengarten and Kelly Erb. Call or email us at memphisrelocate.com or 682-1868. Do it now, 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com.
Happy 2023, everybody. It's like coming home, walking through all these new All-Star Chevys in Olive Branch. Well-qualified financing down to 2.99% on most of the Silverados and Equinoxes. And if you want to order a new Chevy or find one that you want right here, ask for Kevin or Jeff. Or drive some of these All-Star Chevy certified pre-owns. Z71 Silverados, Equinoxes, Malibus, Suburbans. Once again, Kevin and Jeff want to thank all of you who are bringing your cars, your trucks, your SUVs out here to Olive Branch. And they are still paying some crazy good money for whatever you want to sell. Making it easy for you is job one. Even if you don't buy from them, or even if you owe money on it, bring any car or truck to All-Star Chevrolet and get a check today. If you need service or maintenance, call Sean or Jeff in the All-Star Chevy Service Department. Remember, it's not the Pike, not South Haven, not Bartlett, not Mount Moriah or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch, people. So find new roads to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com. And happy 2023 from everyone at All-Star Chevrolet.
apply.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Diamonds are forever. Woo!
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
We'll be talking plenty of NBA, Grizzlies in hour number 3. We'll be joined by Matt Moore at 9:05 as we'll go around the association, and then more specifically with the Grizzlies when Drew Hill joins us. That'll be coming up at 9:30.
Reggie texts in, says, it turns out that the only player that can't play on grass was Maher. Come on, man.
Come on, Maher.
Here's the thing. I cracked up the other day. Of course, that was the big thing about what did they do about the kicking situation. Some of the people said, I was watching some of these shows, they're like, yeah, but if you go out and you start trying out a bunch of kickers and bring in another kickers, you might hurt his confidence. Hurt his confidence?
It's already shot.
He missed 5 straight extra points over 2 weeks. I don't think his confidence is a problem right now. I don't think you're hurting his confidence. Not gonna be a big issue. You need to let him know, dude, you need to pull your head out of your rear end, or somebody else is gonna be kicking for you.
And by bringing in that other kicker to the practice squad, I think that sent the message, and that's why we said all along they should at least do that. And it took a couple of days, but they got the guy in there, and they have the confidence in Maher. I think it was 92%. On his kicks. I mean, this is a guy who's had a lot of success, and they still have a lot of confidence in him. All right, big news for Live Golf, the Saudi-backed tour. They have a network broadcasting partner. It is not Fox or real huge network, but it's big enough. It's the CW network. The CW network, which is very simple. Of course, we have a CW here. I used to work for it when it started out as a UPN. And CW is very easy to find on the television, on your dial, with your remote. And Live Golf is now going to be more in the living rooms of golf fans any given weekend, when last year it was almost impossible to find, and you had to go online to do so. So it's a multi-year agreement between the Live Golf Tour and the CW network. I think this is huge news for them.
Yeah, it's good news. I mean, it's on TV. I don't know that the CW crowd is exactly the target audience of golf, but I'm sure people out there will find it.
There's no question it's not. The CW30 programming is completely different, but the local CW30, they're always throwing sporting events on there, so you're going to see high school stuff. You'll see a lot of things. I think this is big news for them because, again, the point is, if you want to watch this, and there are some that won't want to watch it. They just, we don't want to watch it because it's backed by the Saudis. Well, some of the great golfers are actually on this tour, and I love the PGA Tour, and I love our event that we have here, and that's always going to be number one. But when I'm watching television on a weekend in the spring and, maybe not wanting to watch an XFL or USFL game, here's the golf that I could find now on regular television. And I'm looking at the PGA Tour, and it may not have a great field for a particular tournament. And I'm looking at the Live and going, wow, I can see DJ and Koepka and all these guys. I'm going to watch that now. You couldn't watch it before. And I know that's just going to stir the pot even more. You could, but come on, you could, and then you couldn't. I mean, because most people and a lot of golf fans are older. They're not going on the internet to try to track it down. Now it's so simple to just change your channel, and there it is, especially here in this market. All right, when we come back, Matt Moore to start things in hour number 3. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Golfers, tee it up this Thursday through Sunday at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the Callaway Fitting Event and be the first to score the new Paradigm woods and irons. The woods are engineered with forged carbon to maximize distance and forgiveness. The irons feature a forged face for increased launch speed and spin. A new paradigm in performance. Go to worldwidegolfshops.com and reserve your free custom fitting experience happening this Thursday through Sunday. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
You don't think about a lawyer until something goes wrong. When that happens, let attorney Stephen Leffler fight for you and your family. You don't leave the house in the morning expecting an accident, but it happens every day. A car wreck, you slip and fall, or you get accused of a crime and find yourself fighting for your reputation. Stephen Leffler has been fighting for you for over 35 years. Don't do it alone. Let Stephen Leffler fight your battles for you. Call Stephen Leffler, 901-527-8830, or go to LefflerLaw.com. Here to fight for you and your loved ones. There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
It's time to get your Kia on at Gossett Kia on the Pike. And Bobby J is ready to put you in a new Kia today. You ready for a road trip? How about 41 MPG highway in your new 2023 Kia Forte LXS? $254 a month, 36-month lease, $27.99 due at signing. Or rock out in your new 2023 Kia Soul. Only $272 a month, 36-month lease, $27.99 due at signing. And if we don't have what you want, not a problem. Let Bobby J order a new ride for you today, and you won't pay over MSRP. Plus, you always get Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today at Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Forte LXS PE 573573, MSRP 21335, Soul P 7899335, MSRP 21835. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2023. Dealer stock only. Warranties and limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
Sports 56 Traffic.
Still dealing with a lot of accidents on the roadways this morning. Accident on Mullen Station at Whitten Road. I-240 West at Walnut Grove. The right shoulder is blocked. Perkins at Park and Perkins at Mallory. We're still working with those accidents. Keep it right here. This is your Sports 56 Traffic Update.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis.
Okay, this car look great wrapped around you,
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
The body's a temple, that's why we're taught.
Welcome back, everybody. 9:03 the time. Final hour for us today here on this Thursday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Zach Boyd with you. We're in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Their floor model sale continues. You're going to get the lowest prices of the year on pool tables, spas, patio furniture, game tables. These, again, are floor models. Floor model arcades starting at $1,200. Your last chance for 2022 pools as well. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road. That is just north of I-40. Going to talk plenty of NBA coming up here in this final hour. We're going to be joined in just a moment by Matt Moore, NBA writer for the Action Network. And then Drew Hill will join us, Grizzlies beat writer for the Daily Memphian. If you missed it last night, the Grizzlies in dramatic fashion pulling out a 115-114 win over the Cleveland Cavaliers for their 11th straight win, which ties the franchise record. Steven Adams had a tip-in after a jaw drive that was
a little bit off the mark. Adams gave the Grizzlies the lead, and then on the other side with Cleveland having a chance to win the game or at least grab the lead, Dylan Brooks with a big block, and the Grizzlies get the win. Now they hit the road. 5 games, 8 days, see if they can continue their winning ways. They will start off with a game against the Los Angeles Lakers on Friday night, which will be a nationally televised game. Without further ado, let's go around the association. It's always great to catch up with our friend Matt Moore, NBA writer for the Action Network. You can follow him on Twitter at Matt Moore, TAN, and, of course, at HP Paroxysm. He joins us now. HP Basketball, excuse me. He joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. How are you, Matt?
Doing well. How are y'all?
We're wondering if we should start to print out NBA championship parade tickets or not. So where do things stand right now? We're about a couple of weeks away from the trade deadline. I guess 3 weeks from the trade deadline. Right now, if you were part of the Grizzlies front office, would you just stand pat?
Oh, that's a good question. I probably wouldn't. I would look for an upgrade, realizing the window that's in front of you. Like, the team has a real shot here to make a deep run, and I tend to think that the patience has gotten them so far. And, like, I need to stress this. Like, people have been telling them for years, hey, it's time. You know, got to consolidate. Time to make a move. They need one more guy. And every time, Memphis has been like, no, we're good. Yeah. No, we'll actually get younger. How about that? How about if we go the other way? We'll actually get younger in spite of all this, and we'll get better then. How about that? But I do think if you look at where the West is at, there's a window, and we're in a weird place this season with how much parity there is in the league. And there's not really like a superpower. The closest things to like superpowers are Boston, Memphis, and Denver. Like, those are the 3 closest things. And so if you have this window, one team will fill the vacuum, and you want to be that team. And so if you have an opportunity to make a major move, I think that you kind of got to consider it now being maybe a better time than most to take advantage of it, to see if you could be the one that asserts it. I like a lot of the talent that they've used. They've gotten so much out of it. I can't stress enough how great the coaching staff is for how they've developed these guys. But I think that with Ja, with Desmond, with Jaren, you have such a great combination. I would look to go ahead and make that next step.
So who is that? Is it one of the Toronto guys? Like, who would you say would be a possible target that they could get that would be to help them do that?
Yeah, I mean, look, Toronto's the easy answer here, just from the perspective of any one of their marquee guys would probably help, especially the biggest one being OG Anunoby. Now, I'll just say this: the question you kind of have to ask there is, okay, how much do you need draft picks for the next little bit? And I mean, like a long duration, because that's what I've heard the asking price for OG is that they're looking for something more in line with like a Drew Holiday return, which to me is completely unreasonable and insane. But you're the Raptors and you have the leverage, so why not? If the offers come down, if Toronto's willingness to make a move and their standing offers decrease, then I think you look at it, because you're able to say, hey, look, we have young players, we do have draft assets, we have things to offer you. Like, we can put together a good package for you. We're not going to leverage everything for an OG Anunoby, but if they decide to move on from OG, that might be like a really good option to look at. The other thing I will say is just keep an eye. Things may get a little crazy around this deadline. There's a lot of contract situations around the league that are interesting, and you just want to see how they shake out, because they may shake up other players, not necessarily those guys, but you just want to keep an eye out, because I do think that things might get a little nuts as we get closer to the deadline.
They got one of the great three-point shooters in the league in Desmond Bane, but you could always use a little bit more, and that's kind of the rumor as well. Maybe they go after a little additional help with three-point shooters, and I know Malik Beasley's name had popped up the other day. Do you think that could be a direction they go in?
I mean, it could be. That's the middle ground here, right? Where you don't necessarily sacrifice much, because I don't think you have to sacrifice much to get Beasley. Like the Jazz are okay getting a moderate return, I think, for Beasley. If you're able to do that, then it does add you another weapon. He'd fit great with the culture there. He'd fit great with the attitude of the team. He does provide the kind of the 3-point shooting to balance out things. he'd help with some of the bench units and the minutes when Bane's not on the floor, those type of things. So those are moves that you can make which move you forward without having to give up a significant return. That might be something you look at. But if we're talking about a move like that, I kind of think, like, look, you've had so much success, why disrupt it? Like, you should only disrupt things if you're getting an upgrade that you're like, this guy's great on both ends. This guy makes our half-court offense better. That, in particular, has to be something that they have to focus on because it will be an issue in the playoffs.
Do you believe that when Danny Green gets healthy, do you believe Danny Green can help them still?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, you always want to see what guys look like coming off that injury just because it's been so devastating. And the short-term returns, especially at that age, I think are an issue. But, you know, look, the defense is good enough. I think a lot of it is if you've got that option for him to come in and give you minutes. If you're like, oh, there's a matchup in the playoffs and we need a guy specifically with the savvy that Danny brings, I think that's a really good opportunity there to get him settled in and use him. But you have to have kind of realistic expectations for anyone coming off that injury.
Talking with Matt Moore from the Action Network. It's been interesting because I think, you know, when you watch, you kind of listen to some of the national teams, like people have been a little slow at kind of putting the Grizzlies in that true contender category. Even the odds makers from a little bit haven't been there necessarily. They've had more teams in front of them than I think many would believe. What do you think the question is that people have? Is it just the fact that they're so young, or what is it that people kind of maybe are a little slower in really considering the Grizzlies a true championship contender?
The book's always going to have a resistance to Memphis because they're never going to generate enough money, right? So the books are less about how good the team is. It's about will people bet on them. And most people aren't going to bet on them because of Memphis' market. And, like, that's not my opinion. Like, I've talked to bookmakers, and that's what they've said. It's like we just don't get money on Memphis. So that's part of it, which I think was why they're always kind of underrated. The other thing, and I will say this, if you're looking at it from a analysis perspective, they've got 2 series under their belt, 2 serious series. They got 3 total with the Jazz series, but 2 serious series under the belt. Still not a lot of experience. Not that you can look around and say, like, you know, the Cavs or a number of these teams don't have a lot of experience. Then you look at some of these teams, Golden State, the Clippers, Denver, those teams have been in the playoffs last 4 or 5 years, and that just changes the equation. The bigger thing, and I'll come back to this, is Memphis struggles, and you saw this again last night. You slow the game down, Memphis struggles to score. They can defend now. That used to be the issue last year, was like they couldn't get stops and they couldn't get points consistently in the half court. Now they can get to their great half court defense, elite because of where Jaren's at.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to be able to score. And some of that, really, honestly, as spectacular as he is the most spectacular player in the NBA. A lot of that's on Ja. Because, like, I've looked up, and this number really stood out to me. This was like 2 weeks ago, so it needs to be updated. But he's run so many pick and rolls, right? He's one of the heaviest pick and roll players in the league. 52 pull-up jumpers off the pick and roll. Because he's always trying to get to the floater. Yeah. He wanted to work on that in preseason. He's still not there. You have to be able to punish whatever coverage defense throws at you. And that, I think, is a question mark for a lot of people, is will they be able to solve the defensive problems in front of them when the playoffs come around and things get slower?
Yeah, that's a great point. Of course, the other night, not the game against Cleveland last night, was it Phoenix the game before that, Eli, when he hit the threes? When Ja took advantage of the defense they were putting on him, and he ended up knocking down 5 of 8. Now, that may be something that's not going to happen consistently, but he's a decent three-point shooter and has become a better three-point shooter. So let me ask you this. You have the question of whether or not they want to add to the roster, or are they worried about disruption with the chemistry being so good? Right now, Matt, if every team is fully healthy in the West, who do you think the Grizzlies – now, you can win, but who do you think right now they would be the underdog to in a playoff series?
Boy, that one's good. Denver for sure. They'd be a dog to Denver, and we kind of saw that with the spread last time they played, even without Desmond. It wouldn't be necessarily like a big underdog, but it would be an underdog. Memphis would have, depending on where things shake out, I think home court matters a lot in that series as far as like what the line is on that. They would probably be dogs to Golden State, and that would be a Golden State team coming in probably as like a 6th seed, maybe 7th seed, somewhere in there.
Wow.
But they would still probably be underdogs in that spot, even with as as rough as Golden State has been. The problem is that when you look at the numbers, when Golden State plays their best guys, their best lineups, they're still a really great team. That just has been the case. Is all their problems are basically the minutes that you spend in the regular season that you don't spend in the playoffs.
Right.
And if they put the Grizzlies as favorites versus the Warriors, they would take so much money on Golden State. So I think Golden State would still be favored. I think that's it. I don't think the Clippers. I don't think the Kings, obviously. Don't think they're in that conversation. We'll see if the Suns get Devin Booker back and just snap back, or if they make a trade and they reconfigure things, which I think is a real possibility. That one might be something to consider. But really, I think the only real threat, the biggest threat for them right now, given where Golden State's at trying to figure out their roster, I think in the West is Denver.
The postseason awards, Jaren is a massive favorite now for Defensive Player of the Year. If he stays healthy and plays out the rest of the year, any chance he doesn't win the award?
No. So there's the argument about minutes, but what that's going to come down to is people are going to say, like, are we really going to punish him because basically the Grizzlies have so many blowouts that he doesn't have to play as many minutes? Like, that's what a lot of this is. The foul rate has come down, and that stat's kind of getting out about how he's not really in foul trouble as often. Like, that will, upon further review, so to speak, that will become more of a talking point in the conversation. For me, yesterday I bet Nick Claxton entirely as a hedge against my Jaren Jackson position because I'm like, if it's as long as Jaren's healthy, it's Jaren. That's it. It's over. Like, he has such an enormously, both from talking to voters, the stats perspective, the narrative conversation, the media attention. 538 did a great story on him. All of these things, plus, like, I'll just say, a lot of the beat writers that vote for the award that's an award they will ask scouts and coaches about. Scouts and coaches I've talked to have all said, like, Jackson's insane. Like, it's incredible what he's done. So if Jaren's healthy, Jaren wins.
If the Grizzlies end up, say they end up with the best record in the NBA, where does Ja in the MVP consideration?
So I've been doing this where I talk about, like, what's the over-under on their MVP finishes, right?
Yeah.
And I think Jokic is over-under 2.5. I think Luka Doncic is over-under 2.5. I think Jason Tatum is over-under 3.5. Joel Embiid's over-under 3.5. Josh probably 4.5, even if they finish number one. There is a real stickiness with the idea that Memphis doesn't need him. That, like, he makes them better. He's great. He's spectacular. But they're so good, they don't need him the way that Denver needs Jokic, the way that the Warriors need Curry, the way that the Nets need Durant, the way the Celtics need Tatum, et cetera. So, like, there just wouldn't be, I think, enough push there. There's too much of a narrative around the idea. And, look, he gets hurt last night. They go on a big run, comes back in, helps them push it up. Like, it's those moments that stick, I think, in people's minds. It's not necessarily fair. It just kind of is what it is. And I want to be clear, like, having John Morant possibly finish third or fourth in MVP is not disrespect. That's a really great honor for a guy who's at this stage in his career.
Yeah, it's really when you're just people out there listening and you say that, you go, man, this guy's bonkers, man. But then you think about how well they've played without him. You want him on your roster. Don't get me wrong, but it also says how good Tyus Jones is as a guy that just fills that void when Ja's out. Matt Moore joining us, NBA writer for the Action Network. You can follow him on Twitter at MattMooreTAN. Also, of course, Hardwood Paroxysm on Twitter at HP Basketball. All right, since we're throwing around, postseason awards, how about the All-Star game? Any chance the Grizzlies will get a second player?
I think Jaren's got a real shot now. The offensive stuff has come around. If they finish, I've kind of said whoever finishes with the number one spot in the West when they announce the reserves, when all that's done, I think they've got a really good chance of getting two, whether that's Aaron Gordon with Denver or Jaren Jackson Jr. with Memphis. I think Jaren's defensive profile also kind of makes that easier. He's a more all-star worthy player in terms of the way that the game is played than like a Rudy Gobert, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're going to put Rudy Gobert in because he's such a defensive force and the Jazz won so many games, I think Jaren's case is pretty similar. I think there's a very good chance that Jaren gets a spot.
If Bane had not missed the games with the injury, do you think he would have gotten one?
I want to say yes, just because I'm so high on Desmond, and like I think he's the most important player on the Grizzlies. Not the best, but most important. But I kind of think that there would be a little bit of a resistance to the idea of like his impact as a guard compared to some of the other backcourts that we see, right? Like Steph and Clay. It's not the same kind of deal. I think Desmond, like if you ask me, like, will Desmond make an All-Star team in the next 2 seasons? I'd be like, yes. Yeah, I think he'll make one. I just don't think that this year will be one.
So what do you think happens here as we approach the deadline? Will it be active and anything that you're looking at that may come to fruition?
So, 2 weeks ago, it was the kind of feel I had was a lot of buyers, no sellers. We're starting to see a little bit of some shakes there. That there's maybe a little bit of a capacity for a little bit more chaos from the perspective of where a lot of teams are at. I think, look, the Raptors, everyone's talking about. Right. I continue to kind of be like, you guys realize that Masai is going to absolutely just ruin you in a trade if you try this, right? Like, none of you should try trading with Masai Ujiri. This will not go well for you. Why would you do this? And the prices really are, like I mentioned earlier, just astronomical for all of their guys. Now, like, do I think Fred VanVleet gets dealt? Yes, I think Fred VanVleet gets dealt. There's been some teams already mentioned in reports with him. I would throw the Clippers in that conversation as well, that they've got interest in adding Fred VanVleet. Charlotte, I think probably, will eventually be like, we're going to win too many games. We get a real shot at a top pick. Let's go ahead and move on, especially with the guys I think that want to compete, like Terry Rozier, Mason Plumlee, those dudes. So some of those deals happen. And I think that it's really going to depend on these next couple of weeks as far as where teams think they are in the order of things. The parity means 2 things. One, you can talk yourself into, hey, if we could just get right and healthy, we could make a run. Or you could go, look, no one's really great this year, and we're still not at the top. Mm-hmm. And that shifts priorities as well. So I think you're going to have a lot of conversations. The biggest thing right now is just you have a lot of teams that are like, yeah, we absolutely want to make a deal. Okay, what kind of deal do you want to make? Okay, we want your best player for our trash. Like, that's what the conversation is, like 5 different teams. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how many deals will get made, but I do think we're going to have some reports that people are going to go, whoa, in the next couple of weeks.
All right, last thing for you. I'll make it simple. Oklahoma City Thunder. Huh? What's going on here with this team?
Mark Daigneault, man, really, really good coach. Like the West has so many good coaches. Daigneault's really good. He's just a great coach. I think if you look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, his leap that he's made, and everyone kind of knew he was capable of having a great season, but 30 points and the numbers he's putting up are nuts. They're finding ways to create offense, but the roster doesn't have any offense, which is just really impressive. They are so disciplined in everything that they do. So yeah, OKC, I think, is really Michael Malone of the Nuggets compared playing them to a root canal earlier this season. And that to me is a really good description, where when you have teams that just are disciplined and everyone knows their role and everyone takes a professional approach, it just makes it way harder to win. And it shows you the strength of, you compare the Thunder and Houston, and you look at those 2 teams, mm-hmm. and you just get the Thunder or the Rockets don't have anybody that's as good as Shea, but you just go, the gap should probably not be there, right, and that's about organizational difference.
SGA or Markkanen for most improved?
Mine is Markkanen. I just think look, this guy was a fringe. People were like, yeah, he's a bust 2 years ago. And now he's just absolutely killing it for a team that doesn't have a lot of talent, wasn't expected to do anything. SGA, we all knew was awesome. So I lean towards Markkanen. I think Tyrese Halliburton has to be in that discussion. I think also Jalen Brunson probably is a good value to win it based off of who has won it before. But if you're asking me who I think should win it, I think it's Lauri Markkanen. I think Lauri Markkanen has made the biggest leap year over year for most improved.
It is always great to catch up with Matt Moore, NBA writer for the Action Network. You can follow him on Twitter at Matt Moore, TAN, and make sure to follow Hardwood Paroxysm at HP Basketball. We'll talk to you down the road, Matt. Always great.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Love talking to the guy. He's a big Grizzlies fan, and he knows how well they're playing. So he said, yeah, he'd possibly make a move if the price was right.
He's right on Jalen Brunson. If you think Jalen Brunson for most improved, Jalen Brunson right now is plus 1,500. Markkanen is the favorite at minus 110. You get SGA at plus 125, and then it jumps all the way to Brunson at 1,500 and Halliburton's at 2,200.
Wow. That's interesting. Bet the NFL playoffs with FanDuel, where every play is a rush. This weekend, FanDuel is giving all customers a no-sweat same-game parlay during the divisional round. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account. You'll get free bets back if your NFL playoff same-game parlay doesn't hit. Same-game parlays let you combine all your favorite bets for a chance at a bigger payday. I am taking the Bengals. I am taking a road team, a road dog in Buffalo, where the Bills have had a great track record over the years in playoff games in Orchard Park, but I just feel it with Cincinnati, and if they lose, I think it's only going to be by a few points. I'm going to take the 5.5 in Cincinnati. Joe Burrow to throw 2 touchdown passes and a touchdown run, a rush for Josh Allen. Anytime touchdown for Josh Allen. You can ride with thousands of other fans, bet popular SGPs that are already made for you, or do what I just did, and that's make up my own. If you're new to FanDuel, join now with promo code GASMAN to see for yourself why it's America's #1 sportsbook. And if you already have FanDuel, you can start building your no-sweat same-game parlay right now. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or over, present in Tennessee. 3 or more legs with a minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund is $100. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. We'll talk Grizz with Drew Hill when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Happy 2023, everybody. It's like coming home, walking through all these new All-Star Chevys in Olive Branch. Well-qualified financing down to 2.99% on most of the Silverados and Equinoxes. And if you want to order a new Chevy or find one that you want right here, ask for Kevin or Jeff. Or drive some of these All-Star Chevy certified pre-owns. Z71 Silverados, Equinoxes, Malibus, Suburbans. Once again, Kevin and Jeff want to thank all of you who are bringing your cars, your trucks, your SUVs out here to Olive Branch. And they are still paying some crazy good money for whatever you want to sell. Making it easy for you is job one. Even if you don't buy from them, or even if you owe money on it, bring any car or truck to All-Star Chevrolet and get a check today. If you need service or maintenance, call Sean or Jeff in the All-Star Chevy Service Department. Remember, it's not the Pike, not South Haven, not Bartlett, not Mount Moriah or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch, people. So find new roads to All-Star Chevy in Olive Branch or go to allstarautogroup.com. And happy 2023 from everyone at All-Star Chevrolet.
It's time to ring in the new year in style. It's time to treat yourself to 117 Prime, Memphis's premier downtown dining destination. Put 2022 in the rearview mirror by enjoying the best steak you've ever had in your life at 117 Prime. Close your eyes and imagine. Wait, don't close your eyes if you're driving. Just imagine the perfect steak, any cut you like, cooked by people who have devoted their lives to cooking you the perfect steak. Sure, there'll be great sides, and desserts, and cocktails, but the star of this meal is the steak of your dreams. It's a new year. Take yourself to 117 Prime.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswangerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Forte PE 573, MSRP 21335, K5 LSX 0099 18857, MSRP 26805. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must finance through Hyundai. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 2/28/2023 with approved credit. Dealer stock only. Warranties a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hey, Jeff, my man, are you ready to almost give away some new Kias today to start the new year off right at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah?
You bet I am, Randy. How about 41 MPG Highway and your new 2023 Kia Forte LXS, only $254 a month. 36-month lease, $27.99 $11.99 do-it sign.
Hey, Jeff, how about that new K5? That thing's awesome.
We got it at just $319 a month. 36 month lease, $31.99 do-it signing. Plus, with all your new Kias, you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. And if you don't see exactly what you want, I'll order it for you, and you won't pay over MSRP at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia, Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
Every year, first responders are injured or killed by vehicle strikes while responding to emergency calls. When you see police, fire, or ambulance, slow down, yield, and move over. Faster response times can help save a life, including your own. Move over, Memphis. It's the law.
Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:30 the time, 30 minutes to go here on Sports 56 Mornings. Our buddy Drew Hill joins us in just a moment. Currently 54 degrees, won't get much warmer. I think they're saying 55 for a high today. Yesterday, by the way, got into the low 70s, like 73 for a high, but we're not going to see that or not feel that today. But at least we'll feel sunshine as opposed to all the rain yesterday and the wicked thunderstorms that rolled throughout the area. Well, as you know, the Grizzlies made it 11 straight last night. A fun game, a down-to-the-wire game, dramatic finish after a bunch of blowouts, and now they hit the road where they want to keep their winning ways going, and they'll get their first opportunity Friday night against the Los Angeles Lakers, and we are pleased to be joined by the Grizzlies beat writer for the Daily Memphian, Drew Hill. You can follow him on Twitter at DrewHill_DM, and he joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Hey, Drew, how are you, man?
Hey, how are you guys?
Doing pretty good, man. Did you get a little, I know it's still probably early for you, but did you get a little bit of rest after last night's dramatic finish?
To be honest, no, not much. I've been working on this series about Desmond Bane, which I'm really excited for people to read. And I finally just finished up getting the final sort of things I needed to make sure that it's ready to go. And I was really excited when I got home last night, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to sleep. So I stayed up late writing it. It's not all the way done, but it's most of the way done now. And so, yeah, and now I'm up. But I've been up for like an hour.
Well, you're kind to be with us. I know you're putting together this series on Desmond Bane. You went to his hometown, and that is Richmond, Indiana. I remember for some reason I drove through Richmond, Indiana one time. I don't know why, but I do remember that city. But you just got to spend some time in his hometown, and that's what I really love about how you write, Drew. You do a lot of things that are off the beaten path, and I think Richmond, Indiana's off the beaten path.
Yeah, no, it's like an hour outside of Indianapolis, and it's like in between. I mean, it's right on the border of Indiana and Ohio, so it's actually pretty close to Cincinnati as well. It's kind of like in between Cincinnati and Indianapolis. So maybe when you drove past, that's what you were doing. But yeah, I mean, it was great to just go there. Desmond has been a huge help in helping me, be able to do this, which was cool. And, he kind of set me off on the right path of who I need to talk to and, to really try to tell his story as best as I can. And I had the chance to go to his high school gymnasium, which he went to a teeny tiny little high school that has less than 100 students in the entire high school. And so I got the chance to check that out. But, the coolest thing I did, which, again, like I do owe a big thanks to the Bain family for allowing me to do this, because reporters usually aren't getting invited to family gatherings, but, they had like a little bit of a family reunion type. I mean, just a family get together on Friday night ahead of the game on Saturday against the Pacers. And they let me come stop in and talk to a bunch of his family members, and they all told stories about Desmond growing up and Desmond now, and made the jokes about LeBron James since they got into it. It was great. I mean, I'm really excited for everybody to read it. I think there are a lot of things in this series that you're going to learn about Desmond Bane that you didn't know about him before.
How many parts, and when does it first drop? When's the first part drop?
So I'm aiming for the first part to drop tomorrow. I'm aiming for that. I can't make any promises, but I'm hopeful tomorrow. And then it'll be 3 parts. So it'll probably be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm not committing to anything because I just want to make sure I do a good job here. But that's what I'm hoping for. I'm aiming for at this point. But yeah, like I'm telling you, this is something I'm really excited about. I think it may be like I did the Jaw series last year. I was really proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
This may be better. So I'm very excited about this one. So.
Along that line, I would say that that Desmond is back into form now. Another good night last night. Over his last 6 games, shooting 60% from 3-point range, and we are now seeing the Grizzlies really healthy and everybody clicking at once. And we obviously see that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, no, and I think having Dez in this sort of form is great. And he says it wasn't. He says a lot of it has just been like getting back in rhythm. When he came back from the toe injury, it took him a while to get his legs under him, find his conditioning levels, and all that. And I believe him. Like I believe that's probably true. I mean, he also had a lot of adjustments. Like he's wearing funky stuff inside of his shoes to keep his toe, healthy or healthy enough at least to get through the season. Sounds like, there's a good chance he could have a procedure at the end of the season, but this is something he's going to be able to play through. And so, there's certainly some comfortability adjustments there that had to take place. And now he looks like he's moving around better. He's starting to finish better at the rim. He's obviously shooting the ball great. And so he looks like that early season Desmond Bane. You combine that with Ja, and when those two guys both play well, I mean, Grizzlies got a really good chance in every single game, no matter who they're playing.
So I didn't go to the game last night. I stayed at home, and I'm watching the end of the game with my wife, and just dramatic finish with the Adams tip in and then the block by Dylan Brooks. And I turned to her and I said, it's amazing, because they went crazy after the game, and then I heard the interview that Brooks did with Fish, with all the guys around, as they always are with whoever's being interviewed. And I said, it's almost like you get a college feel about this team. I don't know. You're around. You see teams all the time. You're at a bunch of different arenas and covering the Grizzlies. Do most teams have this kind of camaraderie and this kind of chemistry and almost like a college feel to them? I've never seen anything like it.
No, I think other teams take themselves too seriously. I'm serious. Like, I think, you go in the Lakers locker room and it's all business. You go in the Phoenix Suns locker room and it's all business. And you go in the Grizzlies locker room and they're asking each other what they're doing tonight. What are you doing? What are you doing after the game? I'll come over. Like Jaren and Dylan were literally talking about that in the locker room yesterday. Jaren was going to go over, hang out at Dylan's house after the game. Like these guys like each other, but you know what makes their chemistry work? And it's taken me a little bit to try to get a feel for this, but I think that these guys, they don't all have to be the same. Like, they don't all have to share the same interests and like the same things and be around each other. I think it's a group of guys that appreciates authenticity in other people.
Mm-hmm.
Steven Adams is so different than Ja Morant. Santi Aldama is so different than Dylan Brooks. And all of these guys have an appreciation for each other because nobody tries to act like something that they're not. And so I think that they all, sort of are very good at being themselves, and they all have an appreciation for people that are themselves, and it works. For whatever reason, it works. I mean, even look at John Conchar. John Conchar is the most normal dude on the planet.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally nothing that stands out about John Conchar. Great guy, but he's not the most flashy type. And they love him. Like, that's a guy that they love because he gets in there and he does the dirty work on a night-to-night basis. So I think that's where the chemistry comes from. It took me a while to sort of pinpoint it, but I really do think that that's it.
So as we approach the trade deadline, do you expect them to make a move?
At this point, it's really hard to tell because we haven't seen Danny Green.
Yeah.
And he's the key to all this. So, unless you know exactly how Zach Kleiman feels about Danny Green and Taylor Jenkins feels about Danny Green at this exact moment, which I do not, then it's going to be really hard to make a prediction on what they're going to do. But there are certainly options, out there. He makes those options possible, but can Danny Green be the addition that is essentially a trade? Because that's what you would be trying to be doing. You'd be trying to upgrade to get a veteran on the wing and give you a more consistent piece out there on the wing behind the starters. And so if Danny Green can be that, then no need to make a trade, in my opinion. But I just don't know where they feel about, his knee and how effective he's going to be. And I know one thing, they like him. The players definitely like him. They give him a hard time, and he seems to be a very good influence in that locker room. So we'll see what happens there. But if it were me, I'm probably just going to bet on Danny Green. Team's in a good position anyways. They're already, at the top of the Western Conference. You've already got as good of a chance as anybody in the West, it feels like, to go to the NBA Finals. So why not ride it out?
And that's the thing, because you're going back to the whole chemistry thing. I mean, it seems like Danny Green certainly is one of the guys, and they love him. He seems like them. He comes to hustle games all the time. He's down there supporting those guys. Whatever. So he's certainly, coming in, and if you could get him to be that contributor, be that guy, and you already know he fits in with the team and the chemistry, that would be the best way to go about it.
Because he wants to be here. He wants to be a part of this team. So he's doing everything to make sure that he realizes, or they realize, that he loves everything I've read, right, Drew, is that he wants to be a part of it.
You're spot on there. Put yourself in Danny Green's shoes. He's 36? I think he's 36 years old. Mm-hmm. He might be older than that. This is one of your last chances to try to get another NBA title. If Memphis trades you somewhere else, those chances could be shot in a hurry, especially coming off a knee surgery. So he's probably looking at his situation saying, I got as good of a chance with these guys as I do anywhere else.
Right.
There's no promises where Memphis is going to send me. I should be happy and thrilled to be here. And it's not just that. I don't think he's faking it by any means. I think he genuinely does like all of his Grizzlies teammates. Yeah. But that's definitely an element here. Is he definitely realizes that. And the other thing is, when I think about the Danny Green situation, I think about, for some reason, watching him in practice over these last couple months in the very limited viewing window that we do have of practice, and thinking man, he wasn't moving around very well. And then you go watch Danny Green highlights, and it's he's not the most fast guy. He's not the most athletic guy, but he's kind of, he is good on defense, or he has been good in his career on defense, and he has been a good three-point shooter. So, all those times I said, man, he's not moving around too well. I may eat those words. I feel like that may just be the way sort of Danny Green moves, and he's been effective his whole career. So, at this point, I think the Grizzlies would really like to see what he's got before the trade deadline. That's for sure.
Well, there's a lot of check marks in the good category, because, as you said, he has shot the three ball darn well in his career, and they could always use a little more 3-point shooting help. Number two, he's got great camaraderie already with these guys. As Eli said, going out of the hustle games, he's a part of the family. And number three, he's that veteran presence that they really don't have, so he's there as well. So he fits a lot of categories. Now, again, if there is a trade out there that can elevate you and you don't give up the farm, well, then Kleiman and company would be wrong to not look at that, and I guarantee you they are looking at all these possibilities. So really it comes down to this, Drew, in my opinion. If you are in the front office, you're Zach or Tayshaun or whoever, and you go, I think our team right now, in the addition of Danny, is as good as anybody. We can beat anybody. There's no need to make a move. Or do you look at it and go, fully healthy Grizzlies versus a fully healthy Warriors? or a fully healthy Nuggets or, fill in your team, I don't know if we're as good as. I mean, if you're being honest. And then you go, well, is there a way to improve on that? So I'll ask you that question. A fully healthy Warriors team versus a fully healthy Grizzlies team. Are the Grizzlies better?
Yeah, yes, I think the Grizzlies are better. I think the Grizzlies, I don't want to overspeak here, but if Ja doesn't get hurt in that series, that easily could have gone flipped either way.
Yes.
I mean, easily. If Dillon doesn't get suspended in that series, that could have easily flipped either way. If Steven Adams doesn't miss the first 2 games, there is not to make excuses for the Grizzlies, but there's a long list of things that went wrong for the Grizzlies in that series against the Warriors. So right now, yes, I think the Grizzlies are better than the Warriors, and I know the Warriors beat them on Christmas. The Warriors shot it ridiculous, and the Grizzlies couldn't make anything that day from 3. So
now playing devil's advocate, the Timberwolves are probably saying the same thing. We did this. We did this. We did this. We should have beaten the Grizzlies. I mean, but I'm not worried about the Timberwolves with the trade. I think they've screwed up with the Gobert trade. Denver is the team I look and I go, wait, when they're healthy, I don't like the matchup against I think the Grizzlies. It's a bad matchup for the Grizzlies, and that's what worries me. But I don't know what you could actually do out there to improve upon what you already have to counter Jokic, who is just an absolute freak.
Yeah, I mean, you're not. You can't improve the defense.
No.
You know that.
Right.
I mean, you've got Jaren to put on Jokic. You've got Steven to put on Jokic. They're the number 1 defense in the NBA for a reason. So, you're kind of right. There isn't really an upgrade to be had in that department. I think if there is an upgrade to be made, I mean, you're really just trying to improve your wing depth.
Mm-hmm.
But your deep wing depth, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, because obviously with Dillon and with Desmond, you've already got 2 pretty good players out there on the wing that are going to take up a heavy chunk of minutes, and even with Zaire. But can you find somebody that's more ready, right now than Zaire or John Conchar or whatever? I mean, maybe that answer is Danny Green. But we don't really know at this point. And yeah, I also think that a Nuggets and Grizzlies series would turn out to be really close. I understand that they didn't play well on those road trips, but the Nuggets are a team the Grizzlies have actually beaten a lot of late. But they're playing really well right now, and they deserve a lot of credit. So yeah, that's definitely an interesting matchup.
Well, how fun is it going to be? It is going to be spectacular to watch this team, to see how far they can go. Knock on wood that everybody stays healthy. This team is certainly capable, and I'll be interested to see if they do anything here in the next 3 weeks before the trade deadline comes and goes. He is Drew Hill, Grizzlies beat writer for the Daily Memphian. Again, don't forget about this series he's putting together on Desmond Bane that'll be dropping very soon, possibly as early as tomorrow, as Drew said. Follow him on Twitter at DrewHill_DM. Always a pleasure, Drew. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thanks,
Take
Drew.
care.
This hour of our program is brought to you by Acura of Memphis, located on Ridgeway at 385 and online at AcuraofMemphis.com. Go by, take a test drive, feel the Acura difference. Talk to the great people at Acura of Memphis. Don't forget their great service department as well. And if you've got any service you need done on a vehicle, they can take care of you and really good care of you and your automobile. But if you're looking for a new car or a pre-owned vehicle, go talk to the folks at Acura of Memphis right now. Some great financing options available on some new vehicles, as well as certified pre-owned Acuras that you can find at Acura of Memphis. Go talk to them or just get more information by going to the website at AcuraofMemphis.com. The Portal King has struck again. The quarterback room at Ole Miss is getting crowded.
We'll give you that information. That's a good tease. We'll give you that information when we return. I'm curious myself. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Let former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy take you home every afternoon with Sportstime on Sports 56. Weekdays from 3 to 6 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Golfers, tee it up this Thursday through Sunday at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the Callaway Fitting Event and be the first to score the new Paradigm woods and irons. The woods are engineered with forged carbon to maximize distance and forgiveness. The irons feature a forged face for increased launch speed and spin. A new paradigm in performance. Go to worldwidegolfshops.com and reserve your free custom fitting experience happening this Thursday through Sunday. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
The new year has begun, and Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike is starting the year right with a Start Something New sales event. How about 1.9 for up to 72 months? Plus, you may qualify for $2,000 bonus cash and $500 Conquest bonus cash towards your new 2023 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited. Get 2022 Jeep Renegade Sport 4x4, $399 a month, or buy it for $28,990. You got a need for speed? We Gossett in 2022 Dodge Charger XSD, $470 a month. But if you can't find exactly what you're looking for, we can get your dream car ordered today. No extra charges, no market adjustments, no more than MSRP at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett on the Pike, or shop online GossettMotorcars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motorcars.
Cherokee P879072 MSRP 55432 1.972 months. Trade or own any non-Stellantis vehicle. Must own for a minimum of 30 days and have a current registration to qualify any 2023 Cherokee offer. Renegade NPN 79312 MSRP 30080. Charger NH261941 MSRP 35630. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 1/31/2023. Dealer stock only.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Corky's Barbecue. Hi, Jimmy Stovall here with Corky's Barbecue. We have been helping Memphians with their celebrations for more than 38 years. Whether you're picking up one of our party packs to serve yourself or booking one of our private dining rooms at our Cordova location or our Olive Branch location, Corky's has you covered. We make it easy for you to impress your guests for company parties, sports banquets, or reunions. Corky's has been trusted year after year for all of your party needs. Call today and reserve your private party room before your date is booked.
Flavor, Corky's Barbecue.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Acura of Memphis.
Witness the power.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
So Chris Lowe of ESPN reporting that the Portal King has struck again as Lane Kiffin gets another quarterback. A veteran. Talk about a veteran. This is a real veteran. Spencer Sanders, who's been a 4-year starter at Oklahoma State, tells ESPN that he is transferring to Ole Miss. Was down to Ole Miss and Auburn. So Ole Miss picked up Walker Howard, the young guy from LSU. Now they add the veteran in Spencer Sanders from Oklahoma State. So there will be some quarterback competition down in Oxford for next season.
Well, competition is a good thing. This past offseason, going into the season, right, there was competition between Jackson Dart and Luke Altmaier, and Dart was not guaranteed, but you figured that that's the guy who was going to get the job as he brought him in from USC. Now you wonder if, with 1 year under his belt at Ole Miss, if Kiffin simply thinks that Dart's not good enough. Because, as you said, Sanders is a veteran. Now, the only problems for Sanders has been staying on the field. He's been beaten up a lot. He's been physically abused. But he's a really good quarterback. So I don't know if that means the writing's on the wall for Dart to lose his starting job. That's a surprise right there. The kid from LSU is a kid. He'll be waiting in the wings, and they'll develop him. I'm not surprised about Walker, but this I am. That's a real surprise to me.
Got to have I mean, listen, they
Sanders
struggled.
isn't come to sit. Sanders
they
isn't coming to
struggled
sit
down
down
the stretch.
Right.
They need. I mean, you can't just say Jackson Dart. The job is yours. Like they're out getting guys to compete with him.
I can understand, but in this day and age,
and he has a chance to win the job. But like you can't just hand it to him. Like, good, they were not very good down the stretch.
Oh, I understand that, but he's the incumbent, and you certainly think that in this day and age, guys would be like, "Oh man, he's bringing him in. He doesn't feel that I'm doing a good enough job," which is probably true. I need to leave. So we'll see if there's reaction from Dart. It's just, and of course, the portal's closed now, right?
You can't get in the portal right now.
You can't get in the portal. So
the also from the NFL, what was expected has officially happened now. The Buccaneers have fired Byron Leftwich. Reports are that they're going to basically overhaul the entire staff. Talking about as many as 5 offensive assistants could be gone, some defensive assistants too. But Byron Leftwich fired as the OC down in Tampa.
Is Todd Bowles' job okay? Is he safe?
Looks that way. Looks like it's just going to be the pretty much his entire staff.
Well, Leftwich will be scooped up in a hurry. He will be scooped up by a team in a New York minute. Platinum Jewelers, one of our great sponsors. Jewelry always makes a great gift no matter what time of year it is. You got Valentine's Day rapidly approaching. And at Platinum Jewelers, they have a wide variety of beautiful rings, watches, bracelets, earrings, necklaces, and so much more to choose from. They specialize in bridal engagement rings. They can customize what you are looking for. Platinum is known by many as the jewelry store where many of the Grizzlies and the Tigers go. At Platinum, they'll pay top dollar for your gold, diamonds, your Rolex watches. They can appraise your jewelry, and wholesale pricing is available. They're located at 9387 Poplar Avenue in Germantown. That's right next to Fresh Market. You can call them at 901-907-0626. Ask for Preston. They're on the web at PlatinumJewelers.com, on Facebook at Platinum Jewelers, and on Instagram at Platinum Jewelers 901. Platinum Jewelers is also a proud supporter of the Memphis Tigers. Speaking of the Tigers, tonight they will be taking on Wichita State. Remember, 6 o'clock tip, and the bobbleheads begin. The Gene Bartow bobblehead will be given out. They're giving out all the bobbleheads of the starting 5 and Coach Bartow in these next home games leading up to the culmination of the celebration of the 72-73 team, which will happen on the weekend when they host the Houston Cougars, which I think also ends the regular season, if I am not mistaken. That'll do it for us. Going to hand things off to Dave Woloshin, the radio voice of the Memphis Tigers. He's coming up next with Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Want to thank our guests today, Parth Upadhyay of the Daily Memphian, Matt Moore from the Action Network, and also from the Daily Memphian, Drew Hill. Tomorrow, Eli will be off. I'll be flying solo. Of course, I'll have Zach Boyd as my wingman. John Varlas will join us as he does every Friday at 7:25. We'll talk Tigers, recap their game against Wichita State, preview the Cincinnati game with Matt Dillon and the Tiger Basketball Report at 8:25. Then Brandon Lang will be in at 9:05 to handicap the NFL Divisional Round Playoff Series and anything else he wants to talk about, plus 10 in a row, the game show that has swept the nation. That all begins tomorrow, bright and early at 7 a.m. For Eli Savoy and for Zach Boyd, I'm Greg Gaston. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, everyone.